Well, let's see. It's 9:01. I suppose we should probably begin. Yes. Okay. Let me share the screen here. Good morning, good evening, or wherever you are in the galaxy. Welcome to the 2021 Planning Committee meeting of the Millennium Project. The virus is still going on, so we're not face-to-face anymore, unfortunately, but hopefully next year we will be. We'll begin with a slight overview of some of our updates and accomplishments, and a few words about the United Nations Common Agenda, Real-Time Delphi. This is a big thing coming up potentially for us. And then Elizabeth to talk some about the updating the State of the Future Index, which hadn't been updated for a while. So this is going to be good input for the next State of the Future report. And then each of the node reports and Jose is going to run interference and try to do it as diplomatically as possible. But for those who run too long, he's going to push. And then we'll have an open discussion about next steps, what we'd like to do for the coming year. So,
Jerry, you must have the YouTube with volume on because we listen to the echo. You have to mute your YouTube or close your YouTube.
I don't have the YouTube on.
I'm not hearing any echo.
Jose, you're the only one hearing the echo.
Well, wait a minute. I can't tell what's going on here. Well, now I've just clicked myself. Okay, so everybody else is okay. Shall I continue?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. All right. So I hope you like this cover. Elizabeth and I have talked a little bit about the idea of a guy or a group of scientists who figured out how to curve space. We'll talk about that maybe later on in the open discussion. It's a great photograph of this. So the idea of faster than light travel, so to speak, with curving the fabric of the universe looks like it's maybe possible. But anyway, we'll put that photograph somewhere. But so far, this is the cover. I hope you like it. It's a gorgeous cover, I think. And so we'll have the normal executive summary, the 15 global challenges, the State of the Future Index, which we'll be working on soon. The global developments. By the way, there are a lot of stuff that came through on the global developments. That's the one we did with in cooperation with Ernst & Young. It is so rich. I mean, I've distilled just the first part of the first question, distilled it, the basics, down to 12 pages. So it is murder amount of stuff in there. So we'll work on that. Then there'll be a section on the artificial general intelligence. That issue is warming up around the world. And then the UN Office of Strategic Threats, how we did on that, World Future Day, and then the COVID scenarios and reflections. The COVID scenarios were pretty well received around, as mentioned before, translated in Korean and also Spanish and also in Chinese. The real-time Delphi and global developments, completed that. The new nodes, Denmark, we'll get a video from the Copenhagen Institute of Future Studies. That's one of the oldest think tanks in Europe, by the way. Very happy to have them. And Nepal just also joined. It's in Nepalese, I should say Nepal. I've been calling it Nepal all these years, but I'm told it's pronounced Nepal. Nepal Institute for International Cooperation and Engagement. This makes now 70 nodes. Granted, not all nodes are as active as some of the ones here, but 70 at this point. There was, you remember some years ago, we did a self-evaluation, thought we would sort of clean up the house a bit. But the chairman at the time, Ambassador McDonald, no longer with us, said, that's all right. You never know, they may come back in, so don't fire people as such. Anyway, we have the letter to the UN Secretary General signed by over 200 thought leaders. This was very, very good project. It did get to the Secretary General's office. The Secretary General did read it, and he did say, okay, and turned it over to the head of strategy for the UN office, the Secretary General's office. And that's who we're collaborating with on our common agenda. We'll talk more about the common agenda in a bit. World Futures Day, the 8th, amazingly enough. We can talk, Mara did some nice work on that, and so we can share that later on. There is some discussion going back and forth about the UAE's World Future Day on December 2nd. And that'll sort itself out over, I suspect, the next few months. They didn't do one much at all this December 2nd. They really weren't ready for it. But then they'll start apparently the next one. And they've agreed that they'll be in cooperation with us. And Paul Sappho, the new board member. Paul, take a bow there. He doesn't know what he's gotten into, but he's beginning to realize it. All right, Communications Director Mara. Thank you, Mara, for all your great work you've been doing. This is fabulous. Not only with this particular meeting, but she's sort of reactivated our social media and getting a lot of our stuff out there. I hope everybody's seeing that better communication. And if you do an article, this, not just your normal article, but an article that includes some of the Millennium Project research or something about that, send it to her, because we're going to put it online and share it with the rest of the world. And we've had 14 interns this past year, 5 from China, all tele-interns except 1 from Korea. And then we had 2 from the United States, 1 each from Brazil, Canada, Germany, Mexico, Netherlands, South Korea, and the UK. Now, I would suggest for those of you who would like, since tele-interns make it a little easier for you to have, but the requirement we have is that you make the decision on who the intern is if they want to intern with your node. That's your decision. Secondly, they have to be able to work in your language, so that you can't take the internship with you to learn how to speak Russian. They got to be fluent in Russian before they become accepted by the node. Okay, now this is a big deal. Our common agenda is the most future-oriented statement of United Nations reorganization that's been issued by the Secretary General's office himself that has ever been produced in my 25 years of UN relations stuff. And we got to get out there and support it, in my judgment, because if this report becomes like one other report, we will have missed an incredible opportunity. Not only is the report future oriented, I mean, you can do a Google, not to Google, but you can do a search inside the document and you'll see that the foresight is mentioned, I don't know, 13, 20 times throughout the document, which is really different than anything the UN's produced that I've seen. Anyway, the second part that's important for you to know is the Secretary General, Guterres, when he was Prime Minister of Portugal, set up his own foresight unit. So you don't need to explain to this guy, hey, this is important to do. He's got it. What he needs is support. Because if the member nations don't sort of get in there and say, let's get with it, then it's all pointless. So this is a once in our lifetime opportunity with the UN, I think. Now there's 6 elements that I've pulled out, and we'll do a Delphi with this coming up. The first element is a heck of a big deal. As you may know, the UN has 5 major elements. It's got the Secretariat, of course. It's got the General Assembly. It's got the Security Council. It's got ECOSOC, and it has the UN Trusteeship Council. What is that? That was a big deal after World War II. You had a lot of countries that were former colonies transferring to become independent. Well, the UN helped that transition. It was a very important part of the UN, critical. Now there's not much to do. So the idea is to change this into a foresight body. Could you imagine 1/5 of the UN being a foresight body? That's incredible. I mean, let that sink in. I mean, UN talk, like ECOSOC, we talk about that, right? With Economic Social Council, Security Council, military relations and wars and all that. But 1/5 could be foresight. Secondly, is not only foresight as a suggestion, it's a multi-stakeholder body. It's not just nation states, which means the Millennium Project could be a member in this council in equal footing with a nation state and other think tanks. I mean, I don't know how this is going to turn out. And that's one of the reasons why they're letting us do a real-time Delphi to figure out what this thing should be. This is really important. And all of you should bring to the attention of your foreign ministry this document and say, hey, you support it and you are prepared to work with your own country to support that activity. You should be a special advisor to your Ministry of Foreign Affairs on our common agenda. The second, UN Summit on the Future. You know, we've had a UN summit on climate change, on all kinds of things. This would be on the future in general, to be determined what that's going to be. Futures Lab, also, in my view, that it was sort of put in, and it's not clear what that will be. So our real-time Delphi can help define what that might be. High-level advisory board led by former heads of states. We'll see how much foresight that will be, but nevertheless, it's a function there for it. Special envoy for future generations. This is something that I've heard us talk about, you know, in the futures community for many years. Well, okay, let's define it. Let's help support it. You got it in paper now in the UN, rather than just a few speeches we give around the world. 6, strategic foresight and global risk report. Now, they had an original document of 5 years. I threw in 2 to 5 years because 5 years, I think, is too much time in between the two of them. Which includes, by the way, what we've been pushing for. Because remember, we've been pushing for the idea of strategic strategic threats assessment and research since March 1st, since the World Future Day meeting. Well, it's in the document. You can read it in the document. You can do a search under existential threats or strategic threats, and you'll see it's in there. How that gets done, because we were talking about doing a feasibility study. Well, okay, so that's now in the process, which we're involved in with the real-time Delphi coming up. Okay, so there's a report on the disease. Unfortunately, our mixed scenario, baseline scenario, did say there's going to be a bunch of mutations coming up, and it may and that we may have to have new vaccines. And unfortunately, that's where we are. A point of methodology here, I would like everybody to appreciate. Generally, a lot of futurists will say, what are the 2 big uncertainties for your country or your corporation or whatever, right? And you say, this uncertainty this way, and this way, and this uncertainty this way, and this way, then you make a little 4 by 4 cells, 2 by 2 grid. Well, there was like around 30 uncertainties. When we wrote this, it was just the beginning before the second wave hit. And we didn't have no vaccines yet. Trump was still president. I mean, it was a completely different world when we wrote this thing. So we had a lot of uncertainties. So what we did is we had a long list of uncertainties and then say, okay, if it goes in a good way, what does it look like? If it goes in a bad way, what does it look like? And if it's mixed in the middle, what does it look like? So that gave us a characteristics matrix in which we made the 3 scenarios. It's a very simple way to organize something that's really complex, which this was at the early point. Each describes how the pandemic may evolve. It's not an endpoint discussion like a lot of the scenario planners do. It's how you got there. That's the important part. Input from over 250 medical doctors, public health officials, emergency relief staff, economists, and futurists. And it provided a coherent picture because during that time we wrote this, the news was giving you a piece of information here, a piece of information there. It was just a chaotic thing people were very confused about. So we brought it together and we gave equal time to different elements, such as the economics, the social well-being, the public health, as well as the disease and the medical stuff. Each is about 10 pages of detail. Part of the idea was for people to read this and say, I got to prepare for that. I didn't think about that part. Useful for planning and public understanding. Public understanding, we did some radio shows and things like that about this. But the idea was to try to give a sense of coherence so that people sort of understood the whole picture, and the whole bad picture, the whole good picture, and the whole mixed picture, so to speak. And it was distributed by Dr. Fauci's chief of staff through the NIH email list. So we got out to the relevant decision-making system. And as I mentioned, translated into Chinese, Korean, Israeli, by the way, but not the whole story, but the summary of it, and the Spanish-speaking countries. One of the things, the reason you keep hearing me stressing a story between the present and the future, how you got there with cause and effect links, is that's how you find out what you don't know that you should know, but you didn't know that you didn't know. For example, when I was writing it about contact tracing, I said, oh, how many contact tracers do we need? So I found out. And then I thought, how many do we have? And I found out a big gap. How are we going to close the gap? Because you can't write a scenario. See, we're not talking the truth about a scenario. We're talking about plausibility. So I can't talk about contact tracing if the numbers don't add up. It's not a plausible scenario that way. So what I did is I figured out where the extra people could come from, and it was partly the military, but also the Peace Corps. So I called up the Peace Corps and said, hey, would you guys have some volunteers, return volunteers? They had 7,000 came back from overseas because of the pandemic, put them to work. Other volunteers, they all come back. Can they do it? And they did. And Fauci even sent a video, made a video of this, saying, thank you, Peace Corps. So there's an example where we didn't know that we didn't know there was enough people to do contact tracing. Well, then you get to a point of not knowing, stop writing, do research, then come back to it. Okay, enough said on that. And this was sort of the way that when I say holistic, I mean, we looked at economics as much as the medical, as well as the social well-being and so forth. So it was a coherent picture rather than just the vaccines may not lead to herd immunity, which turned out to be the case. We're not there yet. We got the vaccine for a while. Mutations will continue, which turned out to be the case, especially in developing countries where they're not able to have a lot of running water to wash their hands. They don't have the protective equipment in the hospitals, and they can't social distance because you're crowded into small houses. Virus may have greater economic and social well-being impacts than public health, which we are now experiencing. We need a global pandemic New Deal led by the G7, which is beginning to happen, I'm happy to say. New US leadership, happy to say, and COVAX vaccine distribution, which is beginning, some debt forgiveness, some suspension of debt service payments and other debt negotiation to free funds to fight COVID. Because if we don't fight it in the poorer countries, then the mutations just keep coming back. We will have to learn to live with this, like AIDS and Spanish flu. As some of you don't know, that the Spanish flu of World War I is what we experience today as the flu. It's just more manageable today, and that may be our future with this. Red Cross gave us this nice little quote: these scenarios are the best integration of medical health, social, economic, and psychological factors of the possible future courses of the COVID pandemic we have. One of the things that became clear in this, and I think that some of us are already stressing around the world, is this is giving us a timeout. You know, much of what futurists do around the world is telling people, hey, take time out, think, what are the alternative futures you want? Well, now a virus has forced us to think. You know, for those of you who have children or had children, you know, when they get to be too obnoxious, too noisy, you say, stop, time out, sit down, think about what you did wrong. Well, civilization is going through that right now. And like after World War II, a great disaster, we had a time out to rethink, and out came multilateralism. You know, there wasn't much multilateralism before World War II. You know, collaboration of countries cooperating. That's a relatively new thing in history. What may come out of this one? A better planetary consciousness? Don't know. But I think that we futurists should be thinking about what are the alternative futures that come out of this pandemic, just like things came out of other disasters. You know, in nature, this new growth happens all the time after disasters. Okay, next, we'll talk about next things after the node reports. But at this point, I'd like to stop sharing and turn it over to Elizabeth.
Thank you, Jay. Good, I will share it will be fast. We will launch tomorrow. So tomorrow, watch your email boxes. The real-time Delphi questionnaire for to assess the indicators that are included in the next State of the Future Index. Big thanks for the Polish node and Lucas, mostly from the Polish node, who helped us a lot. They adjusted a lot the platform. You will see that it's a completely new platform. We hope you will enjoy it. It's different. This is the screen you will see first when you sign in. I already signed in and logged in, but you will be asked at the first some only your name and email, you will get an email acknowledging that you are registered, and then the instructions of how to sign in and log in and some demographics. The real-time Delphi, as I said, it's very different, the platform. So you can, all the questions appear in this format. You can choose whichever you want to answer. The ones you already answered are going to the bottom. So you are always faced with the questions that you did not address yet. And then for each indicator, this year we introduced something new. So that the data and the trajectories and what we computed so far is not lost. And also it shows how data is changing, how the assumptions are changing. We use both lines. The green line, the blue line is the one that shows the old data and trajectory computed by us for that indicator. And the red line is the actual data, how it turned out. And what's the status today? Or for, hello?
I wonder why the recording stopped.
Okay.
Mara,
Yeah.
if you're there. Now it's in progress
okay.
again. Okay.
And also we show the old assessments for the best possible value and the worst possible value for the respective indicators. That helps a little bit, we think, the respondents to give an as informed opinion as possible. Because instead of getting all kinds of random responses, it's better to search consensus. After people enter their assumptions, they will have the possibility to add comments. After they enter their own comments, they will see the comments entered by others. And what this platform brings new in order to build consensus is it allows you to rate, to vote on the comments that were already entered. I really encourage you to go read the other comments, rate them, make comments on the comments. That's a very interesting feature. So that's about it. The questionnaire will run until the end of January. Oh, for any time when you want to see the introduction, just go to help and survey info that is shown to you just at the very first sign in. At the very first sign in, you will get the info. After that, it doesn't bother you anymore. However, it will be always there. If you need it, then just go to help, survey info, and you get all the description. What should be done, how. It's not as long as it looks. I mean, it's easy to read, you are already familiar with the SOPHI, but if the people you will invite to participate, you should know all this information so you can write it in the email. In the email that you will be receiving, we will write it a little bit also, that under help you find the info at any time and but we saw that it's much more easier if you see the interface now, because it's a completely new interface. And this is it. And if you have any questions, we can have them at the end. We don't want people to stay now to wait. There is a question already, Jerry, for you about how the real-time Delphi for UN will run. Cornelia put it. And Mara rightfully suggested that we keep the questions about the 2 real-time Delphis for the end.
Okay.
So then now people don't wait for us to get
just,
to them.
Just very quickly, we'll use Ted's previous real-time Delphi, the more traditional one, for the UN one.
Right, so you will get
that's
2 real-time, yes, so you will get 2 real-time Delphi very soon. Tomorrow you get this one, in a few days you get the UN one.
Maybe a few weeks. It always takes longer with the Secretary of the Office than you'd expect.
It has to be, it has to be approved, right? So by the time you finish this one, you get the other one. But there are 2 different platforms. This one is developed by the Polish node, and the other one is Ted's usual real-time Delphi Because we should explain this. Because for right now, unfortunately, the global futures intelligence system doesn't work, as you could probably see. It's not our fault. It's not West's fault. It's some bug that Amazon work system has. They are working on it. As soon as it will be solved, everything will be back to normal. And then you also can use the real-time Delphi on GFIS as you used to use it. But so far, it's independent of us, and we don't know when it will be done. So we didn't want to wait. But you should know that it's a temporary thing, that the GFIS doesn't work, and it's not our fault. It's Amazon's fault, and it's working on it.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, and we may have to get a special advanced software guy independent to do some stuff, because what Amazon Web Services does is sort of interesting from a financial point of view. They don't necessarily fix something. They have a list of consultants you can hire to fix something. so it's like the work is out of their hands. They just collect the money. It's very interesting. Anyway, let's see now. Conception, are you all set to go? If you can share your screen and unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. While she's looking for the unmute button, I hope you've seen the video on this new publication. It's really quite fabulous. And they've been doing a lot of promotion in Mexico. And it's a high profile thing. She's catching up on Young Suk on getting some promotion here. Conception, you had the unmute before. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Now we can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I only have 2 slides. And the first one is just showing you how the first one is this one, is the book that we have already been published. And I'm very happy to tell you today that I received yesterday a phone call of one of the senators that I met at the airport last week after our presentation at one of the most important book fairs in the world of this book. He was so excited that he bought around 150 books.
Wow.
As a Christmas present for all the senators.
Wow.
So, and tomorrow I'm invited to share with a special group the presentation and also to be part of the planning group about the futures of Mexico. This is a strategic group that is going to work on that. But they are going to use our book to start with their planning. So I'm happy to hear that and to share it with you.
Congratulations again. That's fabulous. Yeah, people should know, I was aware when this was an idea in Mexico. And from idea to getting that done was a lot of work and a lot of coordination with a lot of people and a lot of good Mexican lunches.
Yes, we have, I think now that around 40, almost twice a week since the publisher had the book out. And the second one that we're working now, so, and I want to thank especially Jerry, because I have chosen 3 of the 5 quotes, just to mention them to you, that 15 global, Jerry's is the first one, is the 15 global challenges provide a framework for understanding and exploring global change in Mexico 2050 challenges, scenarios, actions. This process is carried out. Congratulations, a monumental job. It took us like 5 years. When we started with the idea and then inviting people, some could participate, some other couldn't, and just we have to invite new people. But at the end, we finished with 19 authors, and we are still having many presentations all over Mexico. And I want to thank the South American countries also for the invitation that we have had received from them, and the Philippine notes as well, and from Europe. Thank you.
Now, this is something that all node chairs should consider. What if you did your own 15 challenges for Iceland, for Finland, for Brazil, etc.? That if the framework, if 15 is a good framework, then it's a good framework. Because when we first did this, we said it's interesting because it's fractal. Because you can even have these 15 challenges into a family almost, all the way from a family up to the global area. But it'd be really great. And I think you might even be able to build on what Concepcion's done to sell, get some from maybe some funding in your own country to say, wouldn't you like to have this done in our country as well?
And it's coming out, I think, in February or so, the English version, so anyone can have it and look at it. And it was interesting because it is becoming very exciting for the people to find out this information and exactly to know more about the 15 global challenges. So I'm really happy that we have done all this work, and it's a volunteer work, I have to tell you as well. And the book that we're working now is, we have 23 authors from 8 countries from Latin America. Some of them are from Central America and others from South America, as well as from Mexico. And we are covering also the 15 global challenges. I hope that next year we will have it ready. And maybe the first semester, we have almost 70% of all the works now. But some of the people that said that they were going to participate, just they couldn't. So we have to invite new people. But we are advancing and we're paying attention to this project.
So the same applies then also to the Foresight European Network. The Foresight European Network might be able to make, Europe 2050, 15 global challenges. And maybe even the European Commission might even give you a couple of euros. Who knows? Well, I guess not Europe. Yeah, get a couple of euros maybe.
Well, thank you, Jerry. So these are the main things that we're doing.
Excellent. Congratulations. Congratulations. All
Thank
right, let's
you.
go over to Korea. Young-Suk Park, the hotshot publisher that now is being challenged by Mexico.
Okay, good. Okay, let me share my, where was it? Okay, here. Right, can you see this?
Yes.
So I
it, hear
copied
you.
your slide and
Sure.
changed it into mine. Okay, this is Young-Suk Park, Millennium Project Korea Node report. I have Mr. Nam Hyung-gun, a MP Korea Future Studies guy here. Say hello to everybody. Nam Hyung-gun. Nam Hyung-gun see, he was here a while ago. Okay, anyway, he was the one who translated the WorkTech 2050. Okay, let me just
That's a lot of work.
go through.
That's a gigantic report. Wow.
Book publishing. Okay, we sort of published World Future Report 2022 and the World Report 2035, 2055, and this is children's version. So that's a normal. And WorkTech 2050, we published this actually last year, but it didn't sell. I mean, it still sells some, but not very well. Anyway, it's still in the bookstores. And I published this one, Herman Kahn's story that he visited about 12 years or 13 years, meeting with Park Chung-hee, then the president. This is the late President Park Chung-hee. Learning all these foresight technologies and methodologies from Herman Kahn. So this book is not really in the bookstores, but I have 2 bookstores selling these in Korea. And if you can look at this picture, this is President Park, and right next to President Park, there is Herman Khan, and next to Herman Khan, I hope you all know Herman Khan. You know, next to Herman Khan, there is a guy, third secretary from the American Embassy. Then this is 1975. So he's been visiting Korea so many times, over 100 times. And Jerry knows all this story. Okay, and
Let
second,
me take a little quick pause on that. We don't take this out of your time, just out of, I'm interrupting a little time. I think
Yeah.
everybody should know this story. Why? It is probably one of the most effective acts of future stuff in the history of foresight. And here's my evidence. You know, because people always say, well, what decisions did it make? Well, the president then of Mexico was a former elementary school teacher, if I remember correctly. So how was it that a former elementary school teacher created the greatest economic miracle in the history of civilization? Out of what? Well, Herman and he used to hang out together. It wasn't just like, usually we're asked to come in and give a briefing, you know, and then we get in the plane and we leave. And then maybe there's an impact, maybe there's not. But what Herman did and what the president smartly did is they would hang out together, get drunk together, so that over years of being together, the president got it in his bones. So he didn't have to look at a report. He had been future oriented on the transition from mud huts to what we have today. And it's whether you're right wing or left wing or like him or don't like him, it is one of the greatest impacts of a futurist I have seen around. So you should all know this story. And so Young-Soo Park, first person to publish it, and it should be understood that the people who liked Park Chung-hee don't want to be reminded an American futurist had something to do with it. And the people who like him or don't like him don't want to be reminded he was successful economically. So that's one of the reasons she's had a hard time getting this thing published.
Yeah, there is a presidential election coming in 3 months, and people are now again talking about Park Chung-hee, and Herman Khan gave the suggestions to the late Park Chung-hee to build a highway from Seoul to Busan. Then everybody was against the idea. You don't need a highway. We don't have cars. You don't have anything to transport. But anyway, he did it. He built it. Now we have so many highways, you know, you cannot tell. And also, he was the one who gave the idea of a green belt in Korea. And nobody ever heard of a green belt. And Herman Khan said that if you do the industrialization, you have to have a pollution control and all this, and you have to have a green belt. So President Park came into a cabinet meeting and said, let's do it. This is a green belt. And no minister knew what was green belt. They were studying, and that was the idea of Herman Khan and all this. I'm getting excited when I talk about him, you know. Okay, visit by Yvonne Zagasti. He came and he visited actually about a week, and gave a lecture for Good People Power, an NGO on futures, and of course on Mondragon as well. That was at 7 p.m. There are a lot of people. And actually, because of COVID-19, you have an online as well. And he gave another lecture for this Future Asset Development Academy. These are the investors who invest in futures technologies, futures industries. So they were sort of impressed by Zagasti Yvonne, and came back to me, said that all these good things. Okay, and the third MOU with Moin on robots and metaverse. And this is a company, metaverse company that I am currently working with. And he's also, the company is also developing robots and languages and all this. And I show you my robot. Yvonne Zugasti had the MOU with actually this Moin CEO on the cooperation on robots and metaverse. And this is my daughter now, I call her. And very nice.
Young-Suk, 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay, going, quickly going, right? And this is Moin's product recently came out, and this is one person working, you know, and he is now trying. This is called RoboDeck, and you can lay down, you can sleep, but you can still do all the programs. And Robots Grace, you know, I'm really fond of her, and I learned quite a lot. And she participated in a fashion show, and she is now appearing in various events, and also had an MOU with a solar owner or listed company and all this. So we're going to sort of do a lot of research and writing about and learning about living with the robots. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Kamsahamnida.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Okay.
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 Now, good. Now we unshare, and then we'll go over to China, to Beijing. Young-Suk Jin, are you there? Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Young-Suk? Sorry, not Young-Suk. Sorry. Jo-Ying. Jo-Ying, you want to unmute yourself? There she goes. All right.
Okay.
But speak to the microphone closer, because you have such a gentle, soft voice. We can hardly hear you.
Hello, everyone. After several years,
Yes.
it's
Ni
great
hao.
to see you online. And now I will report several activities of China, not in 2021. 下一个. Okay. Publications. The future of humanity from global civilization to grid civilization. Its Korean version was published in March this year, and the third edition of Chinese version will be published this month. 下一个. Participated in UN collaboration and coordination agency activities in order to support MP's proposal to create of UN Office Strategic Suite. We assisted UNICA in drafting the letter to the Secretary General of the UN. This is our letter to Mr. Guterres. I have appointed as a senior advisor of the UNICA.
Excellent.
Some mini forum and symposium. On October 14, International Cooperation Center for Future Strategic Research in China invited me to discuss the challenges faced by China's future research and some suggestions for the next step. On September 27, reporters of the Xinhua News Agency invited me to discuss one of the current hot topics in China, the new form of future civilization. Next. International conference in France. The title of my speech was Changing the Thinking Mode to Actively Adapt and to Read the Paradigm Shift. International conference in Seoul, Future Conference 2021. The title of my speech was, Are you ready for the future? Next, for the 2022, English second edition, The Future of Humanity from Global Civilization to Grid Civilization by Intellect UK and Chicago, USA. It will be published the next year. To promote cooperation between Beijing Academies of Technology and the Center for the Future Strategic Research under the UNICA. Thank you. Because you give me just 2 minutes. So.
Right, Shay, thank you very much. Good to see you. Hope to see you in Beijing soon. Carl Fredriksson from Iceland coming up next.
Yes.
Carl, there you go.
Well, thank you. And good to see you, everybody. Nice to be able to communicate with you all. The Icelandic Center for Future Study has been quite active this year, actually. Despite of the COVID, we have been doing things online, as probably you all have been doing. The center has hosted about 20 events this year. Some of them are promoting the material which the Millennium Project has given us, and we have been trying to promote it into the Icelandic community, business community. And but the events has been from future of labor market to opportunity in field of artificial intelligence and so forth. So just to give you some examples, we have been also working on a program on scenario planning and mapping different challenges, future challenges, and for different clients. Developing a handbook for some of them on the main forces for them to be aware of, and of course we've been using the material from the Millennium Project in this work. Has been a very practical thing to do. We have renewed our website, and now our website is probably the best sources of Icelandic project in the field of future affairs. So we are very pleased of that. Last year, our parliament, Alþingi, published, established actually a future committee, parliament committee, which is quite a big step. And we have been promoted in and support that activity of the parliament. And
Carl, let me I want to understand completely. This is a permanent committee on the future like Finland has?
Not completely like Finland, because it's the members of the committee is the parliamentaries. It's very similar to the Finnish setup. Yes. But it's in the early stage. We have been, communicate with them and telling them about the Finnish experience and so forth, and so it's getting there. And one of the big steps actually in doing the work better is that they advertised for a futurist to work for the committee. So that is also a big step. So we are looking for that and work with them.
Good.
So we believe
3 minutes.
Okay. Well, we are launching programs on a future, especially emphasis on young people, and so from our side, the future is bright. So I will finish here.
Excellent, thank you. We have a request from Paul Epping in the Netherlands. He's got to run. Mariana, if you don't mind, can he sort of jump in just ahead of you?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay.
And the same with Veronica, both of them.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jose. All, come on in, or you're going to lose your spot. There you go. All right, there you go.
I was waiting for the signal. Hello, everybody. So I don't have a presentation, but I will be quick what we are doing. So I took over the chairmanship of the Dutch Node, and I thought, well, our team is so small, I'm going to reach out to other think tanks, and that is what fortunately worked. And as we speak, we have a little task force group that is working now on several themes that are important for the Netherlands. And one of the things that we are missing in the Netherlands is the foresight mindset on governmental level. And guess what happened? Today they announced the new coalition agreement after a negotiation of about a year. And in that agreement is that they are going to include foresight thinking. So the timing could not be better. And the organizations that are now around the Millennium Project organized, what we are doing is when we identified the themes, we are going to use the tools developed by the Millennium Project to develop scenarios and using the insights that are already being done by this community. So that is where we are at the moment. So I took a different approach than before, and I think this is successful. People like it. A lot of people haven't heard from or about the Millennium Project, and I'm going to change that because all the amazing work that we saw today in Mexico, in Korea, I think, well, in the Netherlands at least, we have to start with that. That's what I'm doing.
Excellent. Thank you. Good report. Now, Jose, you said Lydia's going to go as well?
Veronica,
Oh, Veronica,
please.
Veronica, sorry. Okay. Veronica?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep,
Yes.
from Bolivia.
Good.
There she is.
Yes, from Bolivia. Hi, how are you?
Hi. You have wings over your head.
I have wings over my head. I'm going to show you what was Futures Week this year. This is the fourth version of Futures Week. We start with you and the river people also in Santa Cruz. And this time it was supposed to be in Santa Cruz, but we had some political problems. And it was supposed to be hybrid, but we had to do this just online. We had the support of Lydia with Futures Literacy. And we also joined this time the Fab Labs network around the world. So let me show the little video just a minute. Can you see the video?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So that was
Wow.
okay. No, I won't. So that was the Millennium Project activity. This work is the main activity we have been doing for the last years. The next will be in La Paz and Analto, where we have the government and all the embassies and the diplomatic people. So as each year, we really work with the UN network, different programs. And this time we will work with the UNDP because we are creating a Fab Lab here in Bolivia with the UNDP support to co-create the new futures and to let the young people being a part of the solutions to have a sustainable and friendly city around Bolivia and Latin America. We have also been collaborating with Concepcion, with Latin America in 2015, And as you know, if you want to do something with young people here, you can count on the Bolivian law. We will be really glad to collaborate and to push this new generation of futurists, I hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hit the stop sharing button and then let Mariana Perova from Bulgaria next.
Hello.
Oh.
Hello, dear colleagues from all over the world.
Can you stop sharing? Whoop. Veronica, you want to stop sharing?
Yes, I'm trying, but I don't know why I can't do that. I don't know if Jose can
Look on
do
the
that
top.
because,
You see a
yes.
thing at the top
Yeah,
in
yes,
red?
I know. Yes, I see, but okay. Great.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Nice to
Mariana.
see you all. Greetings from Bolivia to all you people.
Gracias.
So, shall I speak now?
Yes.
Hello, dear colleagues from all over the world. I'm very glad that we managed to get together before the winter's holidays, albeit it's virtually. As one of the biggest announcements of the MP for the last year is that I participated 3 times in the most famous TV show in Bulgaria, where Jerry, you also participated when you was in Bulgaria. And there I presented firstly the COVID scenarios, and a lot of media echoed the messages from the scenarios. More than 20 media cited these scenarios. The second time I presented the future of work and tech report, and the third time I spoke about AI related issues. And separately between January and May, every Friday I had my own show on national television, in which I developed 16 topics for the future. And I presented a lot of works that Millennium Project has been doing during the years. So our Millennium Project got great visibility this year in Bulgarian media. And I was also chosen to represent Bulgaria in the intergovernmental meeting of UNESCO to develop an ethical framework for artificial intelligence. And 6 of my key revisions have been adopted, including one of the fact that users should always be informed that they are using a product or service created by AI. And on behalf of Millennium Project, I proposed this document also to reveal the idea that what we have now is artificial narrow intelligence, and it will progress in artificial general intelligence and artificial superintelligence. But as we can expect, because most of the participants were politicians, not experts, they didn't want to include that. But I propose this on behalf of Millennium Project. So on this very high governmental meeting, Millennium Project was also participating because I always stated our work.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Okay, and probably the most important event was that in the Varna International Philosophical School, we have Millennium Project own panel, and I would like to thank you to Jerry Sirka and Yung Suk, because they presented their own presentation, and 2 articles were also submitted. And because I'm not sure I will stay until the very end of today's meeting, I want to propose a very bold idea. And this idea is because Millennium Project already exists for 25 years. Probably it's for becoming the future literacy more visible, and all our efforts to apply for Nobel Peace Prize. And I can give you later the motivation behind this proposal, but probably later because I don't have time now.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much. All right, let's now go over to Los Angeles and this Silicon, I mean, not Silicon, but Los Angeles Future Media and Arts node. Kate, you want to share your screen if there's a PowerPoint?
Yes, good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. Let me pull this up. Okay, it's been a while since I've been able to report back, but we, let's see, the first project that I can talk about, we published this book, myself and another author, curated 18 different thought leaders in the new media space. And this book was published last year, and it's quite amazing. It's 539 pages from some of the top media experts in immersive media. So it's a very comprehensive guide to what's going on in the industry. And I also mention in my chapter the Millennium Project and the work that we've done. I'm also involved with the Producers Guild of America, and we created the Social Impact Entertainment Task Force a few years back. Sorry, I'm just still waking up, it's early here. Kind of some of the people involved in, there's 6 of us in the Producers Guild that run the task force, and 3 of the members spun off this new organization called the SIE Society, which I highly recommend to all of you if you're interested. It's free, and it's just an incredible resource for social impact and the power of storytelling and media to help address global challenges. So that's a super exciting initiative that came out of the task force. And then additionally, we started working with the United Nations Creative Community Outreach Initiative Division and have done a series, we've created a series of online Zoom events that are open to the public through the Producers Guild. And we did an introduction, and you can find these online. I'll post it in the deck. But we did an introduction to working with the UN for creatives and storytellings. Then we also did the climate crisis and the power of story was our second event. Our third event was generation equality, dealing with women and women's stories. And there's YouTubes available of all 3 of those events. And now we're working on a human rights topic that will be produced January 22nd. And let's see, that's it.
Wow.
So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right, now we jump over to Romania. Adrian Pop, are you unmute yourself?
Yes.
There you go.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy
Hello.
to be present and address you as briefly as possible.
Right.
Of course, as many other notes, I was present with my colleagues in the real-time Delphi survey for the next State of the Future report, and I gave support for the letter to the UN Secretary General on the Office of Existential Threats. And by the way, here maybe we can expand the existential threats which were put in the original letters. There are others which could be discussed as well.
Sure.
And we participated in a survey in the field of future jobs for the European Commission Joint Research Center's report, The Future of Jobs is Green.
Adrian, let me interrupt for just a split second. On the additional strategic or existential threats, remember to send those to me because we probably will have a little section of that in the next State of the Future relative to
some
the
ideas.
US.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Uh,
And web links and references.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was a keynote speaker for a workshop on 3 decades from the East European revolutions, celebrating this moment, and then a panelist for an opening discussion on a conference, Disinformation in Memory Politics, Practices and Ways of Prevention, organized by the European Network Remembers and Solidarity. And starting June this year, I was participating in a project launched by 2 UNESCO chairs, Ted Fuller from University of Lincoln and Fabrice Roublé, University of Poitiers. It's called the Responsible Futures Project and aims to build a body of knowledge in this area with different angles from different disciplines. And next workshop, it's scheduled on the 22nd of January next year. And now book proposals in which I'm contributing a chapter is to be submitted to a publishing house. In terms of publication, I wrote a chapter for a book on the this moment of East European Revolution, 1899, Annus Mirabilis, 3 decades after Desire's Achievement Future, and another chapter celebrating the moment Romania became Greater Romania, 1989, the international confirmation of the reunification of Romania, and the article for the journal Futures towards a bifurcated future in US-China relations. What is it for the EU? Which was published in January this year. And basically that's it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Good report. Now we go over to London with David Wood and Rohat Talwar.
It's great to be here. Lots of fascinating things being heard already. I'm mainly going to focus on a proposal for some joint work in 2022 going onwards, work on what might be seen as the most important futurist topic of all. In terms of what we've been doing, well, Rohit and I have both been busy consulting, creating books. Many Millennium Project members participated in the first book there. The book on the right is my own most important contribution to foresight, having written many books over the last 15 years. That's this year's book. There's other things going on in the UK that I don't have time to talk about. We have a lot of bad politics, but we have some ex-prime ministers who are active in very interesting ways in the field of foresight, like Gordon Brown. Even more interesting is his predecessor, Tony Blair, who set up a few years ago the Institute for Global Change, which takes very seriously the transformational impact of technology. And one report that he issued earlier this month was living longer and healthier, the possibility to add 30 years to the average health span so that people in the UK could expect to live to be healthy to the age of 95 by 2050. A remarkable document from a mainstream political group. And the 3 authors of that will be joining me on London Futurist shortly in the first meeting in January. But even that should be in the shade of more important developments, the growth of artificial general intelligence. And if we ask which city in the world is most likely to create AGI, there's a case to be made for China or Silicon Valley. But I think what's happening in London with the team assembled in DeepMind by Demis Hassabis, Shane Legg, and others, they are time and again getting their research on the front page of Nature, their work on AlphaGo, more recently their work on protein folding, AI safety, AI contributions to music and art, mathematics, weather forecasting, and quantum scale simulation. There's so much going on, it's very hard to keep on top of it. I do think it's possible they may build AGI sooner than is generally expected, in which case the Millennium Project to monitor this progress is very important. In the last few months, I personally have issued 5 videos which I think are the best anywhere in the world at describing the issues around the singularity, why people are confused about the singularity, why people deny the possibility of artificial general intelligence, and even more importantly, the possibilities for managing it successfully through these 21 singularity principles. So I want to bring these, along with contributions from Rohit, into a joint program from 2022 onwards, anticipating the governance of the transition from AI to AGI, with a number of collaborating brands. Rohit and I are in discussion with possible commercial sponsors. We could hold these online meetings once a month from February onwards, and we welcome a Millennium Project News updates as core parts of these meetings. And there are many important themes for which we have, at least in some cases, potential speakers lined up. And we would welcome contributions from Millennium Project participants as well, when you have something new and novel and substantive to say on this. Rohit, anything to chip in on that final suggestion?
No, David, I think you've done an excellent job summarizing what we've been talking about.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. This looks very interesting. I'll follow up with you on this. Now let's go on over to Greece with Nondas, who will get me to pronounce his full name properly. Is he there? Nondas, are you there? If not, we will go on to Asanga in Sri Lanka.
Thank you, Jerry.
I think he's share the video, but maybe we can see it at the end.
Oh, that's a video. Okay, I stopped. Okay, hold on, Asanga. We'll pause. We can go back and go to the video.
But maybe we can do all the videos at the end of the presentations.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, Asanga, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a screen to share, so some slides. Let me do that quickly.
While Asanga is putting up his slides, we are starting to start a pattern here. Some people from, let's say, different countries have to leave to go to another country, such as Jose from Venezuela, Asanga from Sri Lanka, who's now in Washington, D.C., the head of the World Federation of Future Studies, but director now for Iran, has now moved over to Washington, D.C. You've got Arnaldo from Mexico and Brazil. You guys are moving on all over the place here.
Jerry, have I got the access to share?
Yeah. You just hit, you see the screen on the bottom? It says share screen.
I did that.
Yeah, and nothing happening? Well, then maybe I'll just have to do it without the slides then.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it without the slides. Thank you. Of course, we've been doing some work in Sri Lanka mainly on the areas of infrastructure diplomacy that's been happening in Sri Lanka. As you probably know about the Sri Lankan story, there's been a significant backsliding of democracy in Sri Lanka, and the human rights concerns and various other concerns that have been raised by the international community in Sri Lanka. So we worked on a few areas, which is the economic impact of what is going on in Sri Lanka. And we had the workshop with some distinguished scholars in August, talking about the multiple loans that Sri Lanka has been getting and how we should manage the debt in Sri Lanka, as well as looking at the future, how Sri Lankan economy should be working basically to sustain its model of development. And also on the COVID, we did 2 workshops, the initial wave, the second wave, and several scenarios, what's going on and how the government is using the military as the forefront of to fight the COVID scenario, the issues, as well as contact tracing, various others. the significant democratic backsliding is seen not only in Sri Lanka, but also in many South Asian countries, unfortunately, due to the COVID environment. And this we would like to focus in the 2022 bit broadly. And the two areas is basically the challenge number 4, the democratization. We will be talking much more on that. And the threat to the democracy in the region, basically India, also to many other South Asian nations. And also the peace and conflict. We would like to take the one particular, this particular challenge where most of the South Asian countries have been affected by the rise of extremism, which is a serious issue and is a threat. I know the Millennium Project has been doing some work in 2016 with NATO on counterterrorism, as well as on strategies, developing strategies. I think that's something that maybe we could revisit to develop some strategies, how to make the region peaceful. And that's key, because what we have is a dysfunctionality in the whole region, and which is very unfortunate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanika. Very good. You might want to later, we can talk a little bit about the Middle East peace scenarios. May have a couple ideas in there as well for you. Okay, let's go over to Pakistan. Uesh Chaudhry.
Hi, sorry. I had family come over for dinner. It's almost dinner time. It's way past my dinner time. But very quickly, I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully I should get this right.
Okay.
Do you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to recap on a few of the things that have happened since last year, also after our 2020 meeting back in June. So for the UNESCO Futures Literacy Summit, we were able to, as part of Millennium Project, we were able to make a presentation on the State of the Future Index, specific to the State of Index methodology. So that was part 1. Later around the same year, we were able to publish in the Journal for Future Studies, we were able to I was able to publish how the futures work is happening in Pakistan, accredited to much of the learning that has happened while working with Jerry, Ted, Elizabeth. Philippines is doing tremendous work. Philippines Future Society is doing tremendous work. And so we were able to sort of do 2 presentations. One for the Futures Summit, and the other one was for the League of Vice Governors. So there were 80 amongst 80 vice governors that were actually present for the sort of State of Future Index publication that we were able to do here in Islamabad. One last thing that I would really want to share is the annual journalism awards that we've been having in the last 9 years. I mean, just a week ago, we had one. And the reason I share this, since 2016, we have been doing this category, Foresight and Futures. And what we've recognized that the sort of work that usually the journalists sort of bring in is very different from the sort of work that we would assume what the Foresight and Futures work actually advocate. So we feel that this is a very good way to actually build remotely some understanding around actually the literature that is out there on futures thinking. So that's about it from my end. And hopefully for the next year, it's going to be the 10th Annual Journalism Awards, and we'd be able to do more journalistic work from other country nodes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, now let's go over to Iran, one of the founding nodes of the Millennium Project, Hossein Bahrami.
Hello, I don't know, good morning, good evening, everything, I suppose.
Just good.
Okay, can you see the slides?
Not yet, we see you. Did you hear it? At the bottom of the screen is a little share screen button. There you go.
Do it.
Yep.
Okay, this is our 2021 report. This is month Damavand. And I thought you get a touch of the Milky Way among them of, which is 5,700 meters high. Okay, this is our next slide. We have almost translated everything so far that Millennium Project had put out. This is our previous activities. And right now we finished up to, I don't know, 29, 10, 11, 12, 15, and 16, 13, 14, and 19.1. We also finished, these are published, or a couple of them are waiting in the publishing list. And 2050 Work and Technology is actually in hard copies on my desk now, very looking very good. And we did two things. Yeah, thank you very much. And we, a couple of years ago, we had these global challenges, which we distilled everything to 2011. And with the work of one of my colleagues and Mahkame Taati, who is on YouTube probably watching, we distilled everything from 1998 to 2017, a state of the future, global challenges, hopes, and fears. And this is in publishing. It will be out probably in a week or two. They loved that very much. I think this is going to be a very good book.
Excellent.
And we have been cooperating with the Academy of Sciences, and I'm now officially a member of the Future Studies Council. These guys are very selective, and I kind of was proud of being selected. Another colleague, Dr. McNaughton, has been very active on the future activities. And I'm assigned to help coordinate the Future Day for 2021. A lot of people have done many things. There is a Vision 2050 project in Expediency Discernment Council. Mahkame Taati, she and one of the other young fellows, Iman Rezai, they both are a student of PhD candidates actually now, and in Imam Khomeini University in Gazvin, west of Tehran. And Mahkame did a good talk show on the future on the radio. It was very interesting. Dr. Ahad Rezaian is with Tehran University Future Studies, and Dr. Ainullah Keshavarz is with International Imam Khomeini University in Gazvin, and they actually have had many others have a workshop and meetings and projects that I don't think we have time to go through it. And this is a touch of the Iranian palace. It's Golestan Palace Mirror Hall or Hall of Mirrors. I thought you get a touch of that. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Great update. I'm looking forward to that synthesis book. I've been thinking about doing that in English. Unfortunately, I don't read Persian, but I'll look forward to that one. Okay, let's go on over to the Philippines, to Sherman Cruz and Lizan Catino.
Hello, good evening, but I would like to share my deck. I can still share it.
Okay. Right.
Yep.
Hossein, you've got to click the unshare button. There you go.
There you go. Let me just quickly share my deck now. I hope you can see it. Can you see it?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, so let me try to beat that 2 minutes. So be presenting what happened this year, specifically when we started to create when we launched the Millennium Project Philippine node on August 15, 2021. In the launching for around 4 senators from the Senate, from the Office of the Senate of the Republic of the Philippines participated in the launching, including the UNDP and the Department of National Defense. So as you can see here, you also have the Commission on Higher Education. And this would have not been possible if not because of the node. which me being a chair, Dean Lizan as the co-chair, and Reggie as the director for research, and Emmanuel De Guia, who is currently the resident futurist for the Senate as the director for networks and partnership. So I would like to present to you quickly some events that we did. So we hosted like around 2 hours, at least, of the 24 hours World Future Day. It was an amazing event. A lot of insights were gathered. And in fact, the Senate was there. And we also featured the Millennium Project Philippines. And the Millennium Project, in fact, we hosted several sessions and forums to talk about the Millennium Project during the Regenerating Asia 2050 conference organized by the Philippine Futures Thinking Society and the Millennium Millennium Project Philippines nod. There were like around 3,000 participants all over the world. Around 100 futurists spoke in this session, and of course it was great to moderate the session of future conversation during the high-level Futures Literacy Summit of the Millennium Project. And for the Fiesta of Imagination, again, we created a session, a special session of the Millennium Project. Wherein, of course, the Pakistan Nod Chair, Elizabeth, Puruwesht, and Jerry were active participants as speakers and resource person of the Fiesta of Imagination. There were like around 3,000 who registered in this event for a month, for a 1 month of event spread over a month. And just recently, in partnership with the Center for Local and Regional Governance, we introduced the Millennium Project to around like 80 vice governors in the Philippines, particularly on, of course, legislation and legislative foresight. And then just recently, we organized the Philippine Future Summit that embarked on from the Work Technology Report 2050. It was inspired by that, including the Senate Committee report on the future of work, and of course, UNESCO's Learning to Become initiative. It was a 3-day event. It was
3 minutes.
Okay, 1,000 participants participated. I'm just going to show you some of the photos of that event. And what we have for this year, and at least for the next 3 years, is to, publish the Philippine State of the Future Index, and among other this initiative that we have in mind for the next 3 years. And we just recently had the conversation several weeks ago for the funding of the SOFI Index Philippines, particularly the Department of Science and Technology, the National Economic Development Authority, and in close association with the Senate of the Philippines. If Dean Lizan would say a few words before we finish the presentation. Dean Lizan?
Yeah, well, very briefly. So to make the Philippine node active, we are engaging with Jerome Glenn and with other partners around the globe to really strengthen the Millennium Project here in the Philippines. So thank you for the support.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Philippines, you guys are you really get some large audiences for your online stuff. Congratulations. Now let's go on over to Spain, to Ivan Zagasti, one of the pioneers of getting the word of cooperative business models around the world, as well as Millennium Project and Foresight stuff. Ivan? Oh, and want to stop sharing there in the Philippines? There we go.
Hello, can you see my screen?
Yep. Hola,
Yes.
Ivan. We can see it fine.
Hi. So let me. Yes, now maybe a little bit better. So this is the summary of our latest activities, mainly at not only in Spain, but at the international level. We were engaged on the design of a foresight methodology for public policies for the government of Colombia, funded by Swiss Contact, the Swiss development agency, international development agency. Then also we continue our work with the National Economics Research Institute in Cuba for the government of Ministry of Economy in Cuba, in this case funded by FIAP, that is the Ibero-American Foundation on partnerships, Spanish Foundation for Ibero-America. Also, we've been doing a lot of foresight training and capacity building with various universities, speaking on foresight practices in international events and conferences, and then the participation in the Millennium Project meetings, River and FEN, and also mainly virtual participation at the Think Tank Network regional and global summits this year. So that's all from my side.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go over to Finland, to Sirka, home of the Parliamentary Committee on the Future that the rest of the world should copy.
Okay, thank you. And hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here reporting to you on Helsinki Node activities and our new plans. Can you see the cover slide?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So there are 6 co-chairs in our node, and we rotate so that each one of us is like in main charge for 1 year. So this year it has been Mikko Duva, and next year it will be Osmo Kuusi. And we have been participating in real-time Delphis and sharing information on Millennium reports. And for example, with Osmo, we wrote a review article on the Millennium scenarios on work and technology and gave a copy to the Committee for the Future and also to Prime Minister's office. And a great contribution was from Jerome Glenn last summer when we had our Finland Futures Research Center International Conference, and inside that conference, a special Millennium session, speaking on artificial intelligence. And another way of cooperating with the Millennium Project more closely is a new research project called Rescue. It addresses how much the built environment affects our well-being during various crises. So Millennium Project is a cooperating party here. And also recently, Jerry was interviewed for a methodological paper. And Karl-Heinz Steinmüller for the German node is member of the advisory board. So what we do is we give invitations to workshops, interviews, and later joint articles. We have also been cooperating with other nodes. I just highlight this Bulgarian node. Maria Todorova already explained this conference where we had a presentation also with the Colombian Foresight Network and a brief talk to Uruguay node. And just last month, I had the opportunity to visit physically Dubai Expo 2020 and have some brief discussions with Dubai node representative Muhammad Al-Mahiri. And also we invite you all nodes to read and use the scenarios in this book on electrification in peer-to-peer society, because we compare our scenarios to Millennium Project scenarios, and otherwise also present Millennium material. This book is also available in the Spanish language. And finally, our plan, I think the greatest initiative is to have a Millennium Project special session again inside this forthcoming FFRC conference. And the topic this time is planetary futures of health and well-being. So we are just starting to plan this Millennium Project session and the contents. So the call for papers is open. If you attend, please indicate that you would like to attend the Millennium session. Thank you very much for your attention.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Now, I just got a note from Philippe Destat. He's not going to be able to make it at this time. So, Blaj, although you can you're all set to unmute yourself and come in next?
Jerry, and you are missing Germany and Italy, I think, in the original list.
Oh, well, the one I've got here. Okay, I'm sorry. I just saw.
Okay, can you hear me?
A different list. I guess I got an older list. So, Blaj, hold on. Germany's going to get you. Okay, so Jose, who do you say is next?
Cornelia should be able to talk now because she's also here online.
Okay, Cornelia, want to unmute yourself? There you go.
Happy to. I should be on.
Okay, go ahead.
Good, good. Give me a second to share the screen, okay?
Only 1 second.
Yeah, I know, I'm rushing.
There you go. She did it.
I'm
1
really
second.
trying. Yeah, that was 1 second, yeah. So everyone, very glad to be here. Good to see all the activities around the world, and trying to make the 2 minutes. What have we been doing? A lot. It was a good and very busy year. We're doing more and more work in the European system for various agencies, from EMCDDA, who do drug monitoring, to EOSHA, who do work on organizational safety and health. So lots of stuff also related to Millennium Project topics like the future work technology. But I just shared 2 highlights and then show a bit of other stuff we did around Millennium Project work. So one key thing we did since the last MPPC meeting was that we published a little paper internally ourselves on our website. It's in German, I'm sorry, but the Google Translate works well, so maybe that's helpful for you too. And it was interesting for us. Christian realized this, because we used an online meeting like this one, but not for sharing presentations or discussing, but for really working together online in what is called the silent meeting approach, which we use quite a lot also with our customers. And we wanted to use that to showcase a bit the thinking of the node members and make them visible also to the outside. And also use work that's published by the MP as a starting point and bring attention back to that. So we used the Work Tech 2050 scenarios and asked the question, what has changed due to COVID and the crisis we have faced around the world? And related that back to the scenarios. And there are little contributions from individual node members. Many of them turned up, many of them contributed. And we felt that might be a good way to sort of get little papers together without the overall work of a whole research project if you want a short publication on a specific topic. And we want to maybe do that kind of thing again next year. And the second thing I'll try to speak a bit more about is a project we did in cooperation with a Polish node from 4CF, many thanks. And it's a quite complex project. I'll try to explain simply because it might be interesting for many of you. It's around the targets that the Loudest Foundation, a big foundation in the sustainability sphere, has set itself. And they have a very ambitious, interesting strategy process where they developed an interactive systems map where you can see how things relate to each other and how they think they can affect change, actually, in terms of the targets they have set for themselves, the kind of change they want to help come about in the next 10, 15 years. And what they have asked us is to create what's called a baseline, which is to say, given the science that we are seeing today, would we end up meeting those targets or not? And how far away are we from them? And there's a whole evaluation system behind it that they also use. It's called rubrics. And we did that. Yeah, I know. I'm trying. We did that for fashion, build, and finance, the sectors for climate and equity. It was a great cooperation again with 4CF. And I think maybe also an interesting approach for those who work closely with strategy and long-term sort of normative scenario work where you set a target and try to make it. Yeah, and just a couple of other things contributed to the Delphi, of course, on the State of the Future with Ernst & Young, the one where the survey was out in September. We're glad to make it to a good contribution, which wasn't easy at that time because there was a lot of business in the sector at the time with lots of surveys out, but it worked. And we featured the MP quite a lot. I'm just showing 3 things here. European Conference on Modeling and Policy Support, where I brought in as much as I could, and it will be in the documentation as well, the State of the Future Index, also featuring ProRes work that we've seen before. And in the context of the big national foresight process here in Germany, which is called Vorausschau by the German Ministry for Education and Research.
4 minutes.
Yeah, we featured Millennium Project content in big, sort of, you could say, participatory futures workshop approaches. Excellent. And that's Thank you. Excellent. Okay, now let's see. With the next, I guess it's Mara from Italy next.
Yeah, from German time to Italian time. Let's see how it goes.
Oh, by the way, Mara, let me give one quick little interruption. When Cornelia mentioned about the State of the Future Index in the European Union session, one of the things that the United Nations Secretariat was very interested in our work was to use the State of the Future Index as an alternative to gross national product. So that's something we've talked about for years. Now it's in the official conversation as maybe one of the approaches that the Secretariat will advocate to other countries.
Good to know, very good. Yeah. Hello everyone, try to be as quick as possible, and I'm trying to share my presentation that you should see now. We have done some things like starting to help the Millennium Project with communication and meeting organization, like the one you quoted earlier, the Futures Conversation at the UNESCO conference, the World Future Day, and so on. We are managing some socials and trying to gain more visibility. So send information about your activities because I want to publish them, disseminate them, and colonize the world with the Millennium Project. We are managing the website, so once again, good for having news about your activities. And we have also analyzed the World Future Day results for the first time ever. Some publications should come out soon. They are under the final review at the moment. We will try to build a page for each node on the website, so we will ask for information, be ready. So share your stuff. We are also trying to help the Foresight Europe network. We will see on this presentation later, but with website, with the events they organize, and trying to, help the networking activity, because we need that a lot. And we are also trying to redefine the membership process, so you will receive information about that. We have organized various events. Today, I said that already. Also, a roundtable about the sociology of the future, because I think, especially this is my field, I think it needs to, gain visibility and start trying to understand how is it going, because it's an important part that could connect both future research on the statistical side and the humanity side. But we can talk about it later. We have also run many events about statistics. The Zio, my co-chair, will tell about them, and events about education, helping the Learning to Become program of the UNESCO with their results. And we will open the Open Future project. Maybe we're trying to arrange an event for that project. We have publications. I will send you the list. I won't read it all here now. And both about Delphi, so methodology, and about other activities like security, because we have members working in security and defense if you need some help. There will be other publications coming out. You can read about them here. We usually write web articles in national platforms to disseminate the Millennium Project results, studies, and activities. And there will be others coming out. We usually join roundtables, conferences, seminars. We do lessons about future studies. And we also had an informal hearing at the Italian Chambers of Deputies during the definition of the recovery plan. Yeah. And we have many research dams. Feel free to contact us for a partnership. Just 1 second, I want to give the floor to Simone, because he's doing a really, really great work to create a group working in the statistical side of future studies. So Simone, very fast.
Thank you, Mara. Just a few words. Hello to everybody. This is a path toward a goal. We organized 3 events, one in March, one in June, one in September, and the goal is the creation of a research group within the Italian Statistical Society. And it is a big challenge, because I am a statistician, but statisticians are strange people, because it's a challenge to convince them that the world is not just quantitative. And so, but the good news is the work is in progress. And the group is called the Future SIS, where the S stands for the plural and for statistics. And it is a great honor for me to tell you that the Italian Statistical Societies has accepted my proposal to appoint Ted Gordon as the honorary president of this group. So I thank Ted, I thank the Millennium Project for this, and I give you updated on the progress of this project. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Very good.
Feel free to reach us. Thank you for your time. Sorry for going too long.
And Mara, and also special applause for all of the work that you've been doing to get this whole thing together. It hasn't been that easy this time. Okay, Balazs, are you are you still there?
Hello, yes, I am.
There
Can
you
you hear
go.
me?
Good to see
Okay.
you. Yes.
Good to see you. Hello to everyone. So the presentation will follow. But anyhow, let me brief you from the Slovenia node of the Millennium Project. And actually, we support from technological point a bit of the platform for Foresight Europe Network. That's one activity, but what's the most important, let me share with you, was that we concluded the 10th edition of the Ljubljana Forum on Future of Cities. And a report is underway to be prepared. That actually is a compilation of 10 years of futures work on future of cities, at which we really bring different stakeholders together, and especially the business sector was present together with the government sector, which means, as you know, the now EU is redesigning its agenda also on urban development, and many, many good new things is going on there. So at the same time, maybe just a fruit for thought, but more will be the report, the concept of the coherent city, which might have impacts on various parts of coherency, was very much identified this year, but much more will be in the report, which will be released in January. So the next activity, maybe on content, from the content point of view, that coming out from the Millennium Project was humanizing algorithm, because as we all know, even this is linked also to the machine learning or AI and different definitions of AI, but where are the seeds? How to really go deeper into functioning of algorithm and where we can humanize algorithms. So we see that in the case of smart cities and the future development of cities, there are great opportunities for that, which might have an impact also to other different vertical fields. Then, yeah, we are involved as a node, also not just as a node, as a Go Foresight Institute. We are closely linked to the Vice President of European Commission, Mr. Šefčovič, because as you know, for the very first time, Foresight is under portfolio of EU institutions. So actually we have for the first time the Vice President for Foresight and interinstitutional relations in the level of the European Union, which is a big thing. So yeah, and the fifth one, of course, I should mention Maria João Rodrigues, our Portuguese friend, the mother of Lisbon strategy. So she helped us to reach Guterres and also the SecGen, of course, you know, Jerry with the initiative of all, also with Manuel, with others. Really, it was actually really great joint effort. And I'm looking forward that in 22, we will accomplish all those what we started this year. So, and all the best to everyone. I'm now just for, I'm in London at the moment for the family business. So the slides will follow later on.
Excellent. Excellent. Good to see you, even in London. All right. Very good. Now let's go over to Baku, Azerbaijan. Rihan, can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to see you all safe and sound. I miss a lot of you. And I will not give you a presentation, very short, briefly, on behalf of our society of Azerbaijan Future Study Society. Will tell you like little bit about our activity, which is not so active, unfortunately, because of COVID. You know that all our life has been affected by this. But plus to this, I don't know all of you aware or not. At the same time, I couldn't not mention last fall, we were like in 44 days of war with our neighbors. And this was a very, very tough period, which affected all life of society and of course our activity as well. And all establishment, all like governments, people, so with whom we work closely before, were concentrated on this situation. I will not go deeper to this. I guess like everybody, like people who know me know what we suffer in those periods. So, but little by little, starting from summer, we start some activity and we participated at the international conference, which called like Designing Education from a Post-COVID-19 and Industry for Zero Perspective. And we were like one of organizer of this conference, and I'm very happy. I applied to some of our Node representatives, and some of you supported us. Jerry was one of the keynote speaker. I thank Rosa, I thank Ufuk from Turkey Node, Alexander Ageev also was participating. So it was very good. There was ministerial level, international professors, and a lot of prominent people participated in this. I myself made presentation and give, of course, information about activity of Millennium Project, about our work, which already has been done in the previous years. And I hope we can, improve our activity in future. I work a lot in the field of education, as I know, and just would like to mention that 1 month ago, I have been awarded by my second highest order of France. I got my second Napoleon Medal order called Palme Académique for our work in the field of education. So like this, I'm just
congratulations.
Happy to see you all.
Take a bow. We saw all
Thank
that.
You.
That was very
Thank
cool.
You. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Let's go over to Norbert Kolos and the Polish node.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Jerry. Good to see you all. Let me share my screen. Can you see the slide?
Yep, looks perfect.
Okay, good. Here goes a very brief update of what we are up to this year at 4CF, representing the Millennium Project in Poland. First and foremost, regarding our program activities, here's the next slide. Implementations of our real-time Delphi platform for CF Halnex are underway for the Millennium Project, as Elizabeth has nicely explained when she spoke about the State of the Future Index real-time Delphi. As a matter of fact, we have recently also used the Halnex platform while we collaborated with some other node chairs in our labor market study for the Mazovian Labor Market Observatory. On a little bit different note, but still worth mentioning, Kacper from our team had lots of fun hosting 2 time slots during the last World Future Day 24-hour conversation. Now, we are not slowing down in terms of methodology development. In the first half of next year, we plan to present our new platform for online foresight workshops, a novel type of real-time collective intelligence tool, which I'm sure will be of interest to many of you. It's almost ready, and we will keep you updated. I can see someone who's not muted, probably. Okay. We have also made some refinements and updates to our 4CF matrix, which I hope to make public pretty soon as well. And as a reminder, our 4CF Stranger Futures board game can be downloaded free of charge for non-commercial projects from our website. As for our promotional activities, we have increased our media presence and coverage in 2021. Amongst many other things, we have organized the Centennial Debate about science fiction and future studies with Kacper from our team, Karl-Heinz Steinmüller, and Thomas Lombardo. We did some first attempts at fundraising for the AGI program in Poland and the United Arab Emirates while we were there with IBON. Additionally, of course, we are continuing our support of the Millennium Project's online presence through website hosting and co-webmastering. And Mara is of great help to us in that department. Yeah, some quick project highlights from this year include the technology foresight on biometrics for the future of travel, done for the European Border and Coast Guard Agency Frontex. We worked quite a bit for the Laudes Foundation together with Cornelia's future impacts, as she has already mentioned. We are continuing our involvement in Resilience Frontiers initiative of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, as well as in various projects of EIT Climate Kick. And just now,
3 minutes.
Okay, we are starting a foresight for chemicals project for the European Commission's DG GROW. And that's us, our core team at least. So if anything that I've just briefly mentioned sounds interesting to you, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you once again. I'm looking forward to all the new things we can do together next year and beyond, of course.
Excellent. I want to also thank you again for hosting the main Millennium Project website. Okay, let's go on over to Aaron Hampton in Israel. You want to unmute yourself? Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Here you are.
Thank you very much. Here I'm sharing my screen. It's great to be here in this amazing event, really. It's wonderful to see all of you. I'll be very brief. All the past activities were presented in the previous meeting, so I'll skip that. Some updates about this year. We had some initial discussions with Jerry about the AI and governance project. Nothing concrete yet, but we would like very much to take part of it in this very interesting topic, if possible, and also to cooperate with other nodes, possibly. We had some initial discussions with the Dubai node on potential cooperations, including this possibility on AI and governance, but nothing concrete came of it yet. Then I recently became involved in the newly established Institute of Future Studies in Education, established by the Israeli Ministry of Education. I'm doing some research and consulting and teaching work there, using the Millennium Project scenarios as an example of scenario building. And also I presented it in several meetings, including the implication to education. And people became very, very interested in that point. We did a concise Hebrew version of the work text 2050 scenarios and the COVID scenarios as well. And also we participated in encouraging participants to participate in the recent real-time Delphi of the Millennium Project. That's all, I think, as for now. And as I said, we are looking forward to further cooperation with other nodes, especially on this topic of AI and governments, but also on other topics as well. Thank you very much.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go over to Turkey. Mustafa, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Oh,
good to see you.
Aaron, don't forget to unmute yourself. I mean, to end sharing.
Stop sharing. Yes, yes. Okay.
There you go. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Mustafa, please go ahead.
Hi, Jerry. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Very quickly, I'm going to summarize what we have done during this year. First of all, I'm going to talk about the World Future Day on March 1st. We had due to the pandemic, we had an online event that was great. It was an international event. Many speakers from different countries joined as speakers and listeners. Approximately 3,500 participants watched the event the whole day, from 9 to 7 p.m., from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And Jose Cordero and Herb Simmels, Peter Bishop were among the speakers. And there are two initiatives that I'm going to talk about. The first one is the Turkish Republic presidency intends to organize a council which is named Turkey 2035, and we are invited to participate. It is not held yet, but we got an invitation. This is the first one. The second one, we are already participating. Another initiative, which is organized by the Istanbul municipality, which is, there is an organization under the municipality, which is called Istanbul Project Agency. And well, there are many participants from different institutions, NGOs, and governmental organizations. And they are working on a project to publish a report which is called Istanbul 2050. And we have already started to work for the World Future Day of next year since September this year. This is gonna be the 10th anniversary of this event that we are holding since 2013, 1 year ahead of Millennium Project.
Yes, well, I know it. I was speaking at that first one, by the way, a long time ago. Yes, but I got to point that out. Turkey was before us 1 year. Yes.
Yeah, 1 year.
Or 1 or 2 years, maybe.
No, 1 year. 1 year.
Yeah. Okay.
3 minutes.
Oh, sorry.
Very shortly. This year, the topic will be related to climate, energy, water, food, and so on. And what else? We are continuing to give the lectures, featured studies at the university, and we started the first time in Turkey to give similar lectures, excuse me, to the kids attending the middle school and high school. We are using the playbook of Peter Bishop. And this year, we are going to start as a second time for the students attending the 5th and 9th grades. I published a book in September, which was titled What's Left Till 2040, the future from the angle of futurist. And a new book will be published in the beginning of next year in January, which is written by Jose Cordero and David Wood in Turkish, which is, you know, that book, The Death of Death. Very shortly, I'm going to stop here. That's all the main items that we have done. Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you. Now let's go to one of the older nodes, Pavel Novacek in the Czech Republic.
Thank you very much. Good evening from Czech Republic. And it's my pleasure to be here after some time. So our node participated in some Millennium Project questionnaires, but especially we try to focus our effort on education area. And now we have here 2 master's programs in English. One is called Global Development Policy, partially it is future-oriented. And we have joint degree program. This program is joint degree program together with University of Pavia in Italy and University of Clermont-Ferrand in France. And second master program in English, which we have here, and it is future-oriented, is development studies and foresight. And also, so we are offering some courses, foresight-oriented courses. And now we are participating in 2 relatively small projects. Both projects are funded by Visegrad Fund. It's a fund of Central European countries. First project is called Climate Change and Sustainable Development, New Challenges. This is coordinated by Pedro Mohila Black Sea National University in Mykolaiv. It's in Ukraine, and it is very close to Odessa in Black Sea. So now I am glad that I have some cooperation with colleagues from Ukraine. I visited with Pedro Mohila University in September, and we are just 25 years old. So we are coordinating this project, and participants are from Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and Czech Republic. And second project, which is also funded by Visegrad Fund, is coordinated by our friends from Poland, by 4CF, and probably by Anna Szymańska. Norbert, am I right? Okay, it's coordinated by colleagues from Poland. It is called 2030 Emerging Sustainable Innovation Pathways Towards Post-COVID-19 Recovery. Participants are from Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, and it is coordinated by colleagues from Poland. I am not involved in this project, but 2 my colleagues are involved. So very briefly, it's all.
Excellent. Thank you. Good to see you, Pavel.
Good to see you.
And yes, that's
good to see you all.
Correct. Sorry for the delay, Pavel.
That's all right.
No, it's okay.
Now, I don't see Rezekhan from South Africa. Are you there?
Jerry, but you forgot about me.
I don't see. Oh, I apologize. Okay, my apologies. My apologies.
No, I don't know.
I got it. No,
I will not apologize.
All right, go ahead. We give her an extra minute for that.
Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, I'm happy to see all of you. So briefly, during this COVID time, I actually published 2 monographs. Yeah, both are about the application of chaos and complexity theory to foresight and innovation systems. A couple of weeks ago was published my paper in Futures. It is about bridging foresight and innovation systems, and it is in special issue based on the European Commission conference in 2018. I also published a couple of papers in our magazines, so did several presentations at the conferences, including about artificial intelligence, including in FAN, in Future Day, and so on. This year we have a project for the National Program of Basic Research, and it is about big data. And one part is theoretical, another analytical, and so we did the scanning and monitoring and assessment of global trends and markets, patterns, technological trends, and technological weak signals in big data. And also did the analysis for Russia, and now do the recommendations for the government and some methodological highlights. So we contributed to survey of our Iran node of European Commission, continue to contribute to the Global Environmental Outlook UNEP, and also contributed to Delphi. So very brief. Thank you. 1 minute,
Excellent.
back to you.
Spasiba, and my apologies for skipping. Now, speaking about skipping, I also, it seems that I skipped by mistake Tunisia. Mohammed, do you want to come on in? Unmute yourself. Mohammed, are you there?
Hi. Yeah, I'm here.
There
Hello.
you are. Yeah, good. Hello.
Greeting for to all of you. I'll share my presentation. So are you seeing?
You have to click it again. There you go. Yep, we're seeing it.
Okay. So I will share with you our main activities. Was a prospective activity on K-12 Tunisian education. So our Tunisian education system is currently facing enormous issues and structural problems. These issues can easily be identified at different levels to cite school dropout rate and employment of high graduate and absence in the list of most international education rankings such as PISA. So a perspective in the Tunisian education system bring us back to trajectories. We note first reluctance in terms of teacher training and the quality of educational service. It has been the result of many circumstances, among which we can cite the choice to abandon initial teacher training and also the trade union game of power with the authorities. So as you see, the last decade and by the times of the pandemic, the trajectory knew another radical deviation characterized by an unprecedented decline of trust in the public schooling system, with an increasing orientation toward private education, both regulated and unregulated. So we thought about those 4 scenarios. 2 drivers were chosen that are the mode of governance and also the reform of public schools compared to private one. So these 4 scenarios bring us back to the question of quality and how to shape this existing system according to its requirements. Then it's believed that the proactive approach based on a clear strategy is more than necessary to overcome this situation. Revisiting the public education system and adapting it to job markets, bringing deeper reforms in the teaching job and implementing more effective curricula that highlight the 21st century skills seems to be some of the urgent needs to save not only education, but the whole country and the future generation. So, and thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Now, I don't see Rezagan from South Africa. If that's not the case, we can go on to Milan. Oh, yeah, to Milan in Montenegro.
And
Milan, you
Nepal
want to
also. Nepal and Montenegro are right before the break. Yes.
Right. So Milan, you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello,
everyone.
there you are. Yep.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
2 years we were exposed to very low activity in Montenegro due to very high exposure impact of the COVID. You know that Montenegro is a touristic country, and 3/4 of all income is based on tourist revenue, and we didn't have it. So we had problems, economic problems, and due to this, we don't have a stable government. And in this moment, Government is comme ci, comme ça. We are waiting what will happen. And unfortunately, our Ministry of Science is not as before. Now we have a Ministry of Science, Education, Sport, and the Culture in one person and in one department. This is very heavy to organize, and we couldn't succeed even to make a contact with them. So what to say? We have individual events, some meetings. Mila Popovic is here with us, and we are trying to restart the node to establish new members. Some of our old members and co-chairs are not in country. Our ex-ministers Sanja Vlahovic and Vojca Lazovic. So a lot of problems, but we have a good will to continue, and we are still in good shape. So let's say just hello this moment, and I'm listening to you. I'm very glad that other colleagues have different experience and still working very hardly and very enthusiastic. I'm still enthusiastic, but not a chance to be active right now in Montenegro.
Well, with some of your key players outside of Montenegro, you might want to reactivate the idea of Tele-Montenegro, but Tele-Montenegro node, maybe. Some of the node inside, some of the outside. I mean, that's what Jose is doing with Venezuela.
Yes, that's a great idea. I relaunched that idea to a new government and still waiting for their feedback, but they have a lot of occupation internally. They don't have time for me.
Yeah, understood. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Now let's go over to the newest node in Nepal that I'm finally learning how to pronounce correctly after all these years. I've been saying Nepal, but it's Nepal, I understand. Parmud, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you.
There you
Hi,
are.
Larry.
Hello.
And hello to everyone present here. I'll be very brief because I'm one of the youngest node of this Millennium Project. Before, let me briefly introduce myself. I'm a research director at Nepal Institute for International Cooperation and Engagement, which is one of the premier think tank in Kathmandu. And we had a nice global conclave in June, where we hosted 220 scholars from 45 countries, and we had 24,000 viewers. And we also had nice international studies convention where we had 330 young scholars from the region, and we had around 21,000 viewers. As Jerry said, we are one of the youngest member of this Millennium Project. We joined last week of October, and we had the first event on navigating US-China rivalry, perspective from South Asia, where Jerry was there, and we had a speaker from India, Swaran Singh. We had Asanga, who is also our Millennium Project member. We had Salman Malik from Pakistan. We have Sahib Khan from Bangladesh. And we had around 900 people participating and watching us at this event. If you want to go through the event, we have a YouTube link there. And as we are youngest, we're also preparing, trying to prepare, like we have all entered a winter vacation. So now for 2020, we're trying to work on a few projects. One of them is that Millennium Challenge Corporation, which is $500 million grant project of US, is in limbo in Nepal. So we're planning to conduct what can be the future of foreign aid in Nepal. Similarly, like we also want to work on democracy risk review of 2022, because we want to conduct it every year. So what will the future of democracy in this Himalayan country? And since Nepal is also vulnerable to climate change, we're also planning to work on climate change and clean energy. And for this, will be in a month or two, we'll be coming with a clear plan, and then we'll be contacting all the members, how each of us can contribute. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and welcome to the Millennium Project.
Thank you.
So now we can take a break, go off, take care of your emails or whatever else you need to do. You can put yourself on mute, so not all of your comments are going to come through. And we'll see you in just about, Jose, what is that, about 5 or so minutes? 10 minutes?
12 minutes, so that we are at half the hour, 12 minutes.
Okay, half the hour. Excellent. Thank you, Jose. Good work.
And we can talk here in between. So it's great to see so many old friends. It is a pity that we are rotating in this small planet and we
Yeah.
cannot be all together and at the same time somewhere.
Well, I have a question for MIT. They're supposed to be doing good engineering. Why can't, if the Earth is turning, why can't we jump up with a balloon or something and have the Earth rotate underneath us and come back down and travel that way?
Well,
Can't
it's going
MIT
to
do
be
that?
costly. It will be costly.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm on the Asian and European nodes. I don't know if Safia wants to say anything from France, because we didn't hear about France.
Oh, did
And
I
also
miss?
Rehan is kind of French as well. The Napoleon order.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she's more French than some of the French, actually.
Hello, I can say hello. Jose.
Hello, bonjour.
How are you? I'm very
Good.
happy to be with you today. There was a long time we haven't shared ideas and presentation, and I would like to give a congratulations to all the nodes, because your work is fantastic, and I'm very impressionné.
Oui, impressed.
Yeah,
impressed by all the work. Félicitations.
Oh yeah, it's really incredible. I mean, almost, and not only the breadth, but also the depth. I mean, a lot of nodes are not just doing one little thing. The breadth of the node is a lot, and the depth, and increasingly, I would say, increasing access to heads of states as well. Like Nondas in Greece, as you know, is also vice chairman of the President's Council on the future stuff.
It is
Yes,
amazing,
fantastic.
Jerry.
Yeah.
And it's also Ted Gordon arrived to listen to the Americas team.
Listen, I have been here all the time.
What? Not the first part. You came in a little late, I think.
No. I was on one of your URLs takes you to a parallel universe.
Oh, the
where I
streaming?
can see everything.
Yeah.
But not be a participant as here in
So
Zoom.
you came in the observer link.
I came in the observer link, and I
Okay.
kept trying to figure out what the hell's going on. But it finally dawned on me that I'm on the wrong avenue. So
Right.
here I am. And Jerry, your balloon idea is nice, except there's no atmosphere to support it in space.
Well, but that's why we go back to MIT. We create one little balloon around us. We go up, then we come back down, and the Earth is turned, which of course is nonsense. So I'm not being serious.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, listen, Jerry. Eric Schmidt just joined the faculty of MIT, so maybe you can get him to help, because he
Well, that
also
would be
has
great, because it would certainly save a lot on all the backups with airline travel. You know, it's just very simple.
Well, he's looking for interesting projects for young people. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, that would be one. But if they figure that one out, I got to throw out all my physics learning.
No, this is truly an amazing set of presentations.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
What's amazing to me is that there's a lot more emphasis now on the education side of all of this across many, many other people, which makes me feel good. I think the time has come. So
Yeah, almost everybody's doing something on education, just about.
yeah, so I think it's time for us to kind of maybe find a way to collude all of that together.
Mm-hmm.
So hello to Ted, and also to Paul, to the third Paul. Paul Werbos is on.
Good to see you.
Report. Crazy things have been happening in Washington. I apologize for being so late, but really crazy things have been happening.
What?
Oh,
You're talking about starting after January 6th or something.
well, that was a good starting point for crazy things happening.
Oh no.
One of the things that you guys know about was that Ireland did introduce a major motion, which I think is related to this existential threat issue.
Yep.
And Russia vetoed it. And there's a big question of, gee, what do we do? Because if we want to survive these big existential threats, and if Russia vetoes the Security Council motion, what do we do now to try to stay alive? And if
Yeah.
that doesn't make you think really hard,
Right. Well,
that has totally used up my brain for a few
yeah,
days.
but we don't have to go through the Security Council. It's already in the Secretary General's Our Common Agenda report. If you do a Google search in that document, or a search in that document under risk, you'll see it shows up. So it's in there. The question is how to implement, which of course was our suggestion, is to do a feasibility study. Indirectly, we get to play with that because we're in final negotiations with the Secretary General's office on the text for a real-time Delphi on implementing the 6 foresight elements of the report. So we will get to make our comments directly on how to implement that.
You can
So
search
it can
on
be done
existential.
outside. Yeah, so it doesn't have to go through the Security Council. It can be a unit within the Secretary General's office itself, because they're supposed to come up with a report well, they said originally 5 years, and I changed it to like 2 to 5. We'll see if they edit that back out. That was a little bit pushy, but anyway, part of that report is what's the status on existential threats. It's in there. Now, the question is, how do they do the research to write the report? Well, we've got some ideas on that.
No. And
So
to
that,
do
so
it
that
right,
bypasses the Security Council. Because one of the things, Paul, we want to get done, at least initially, is say, well, what is the status of what we do know and what we don't know?
No.
And that report can do that. And we've got as much of a fingernail in there as anybody else at the moment.
yeah, one lesson I've been learning more and more this year is that there's no way to get it right. No way to get it right, even enough to stay alive, without building new networks which combine certain different approaches. The Millennium Project is a critical piece. It's one of the critical ways of getting critical international information. But there are other pieces that have to be combined with it, like what's going on with IEEE right now.
Right.
We have to combine these sources of information, and there have to be places in the United Nations which are responsible, the way we used to be in the National Science Foundation, responsible for connecting to all of the key constituencies and doing a serious intellectual integration. And if the Office of the Secretary General can do that, that's an exciting hope, although past history suggests that's a little difficult. The White House has been able to set up offices with real technical depth.
Yes.
So maybe it should be possible, but it's a major management challenge, how to connect these pieces. I'm hoping that UNESCO might help in connecting some of these pieces. And I think the Security Council will have to be involved eventually. I mean, even the White House can't do things without a connection to Congress.
Yeah, but the trouble is, well, yeah, but the analogy of Congress is not quite precise. Secretary General's office can bully pulpit stuff, and they can also memo stuff independent of Security Council.
Yeah, but in the UN, the Security Council has more power relative to the big boss.
Yes, correct. Yes. However, if that power can't be exercised because of the veto, then it's irrelevant to the issue.
Right. But
That's
the bottom
my point.
line is we're going to have to figure out a way to work with Russia somehow and China. If we don't figure out ways to connect them to the survival network, we won't survive.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a matter of time, because the argument in my mind has always been, when that comes up, is to say, look, Moscow and Washington cooperated on how to manage nuclear weapons.
That's a good example. That's a very good example.
They were classified stuff. They were secret. They were opponents. They were all of the rest of it. Much more than now, in a way.
Yeah.
But it's the same logic. We have to cooperate, because if we don't, we're both messed up.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you when you're in your conversations, use that example of the arms negotiation. You know. we managed the situation. Not that was the only thing that prevented World War III, but it was a contributor, certainly.
We lived through the Cold War, and we have so
Right.
many memories and lessons learned. We could write books on it.
Well, as Ted will tell you, I'm still paranoid.
Yeah. I
Not
still
only
worry
that-
whether humans will live or die.
Not only that, but the paranoia is catchy.
Uh-oh. Is it an airborne? Oh, you're getting it now too?
only fragments.
Ah, good. Well, somebody's got to be sane, and it does not necessarily going to be me. By the way, that was a logic Herman used to use on the mad stuff. You know, either they got to be sane or we got to be sane. It's not going to be me, so you got to be sane.
Jerry, there in the our common agenda report, there is a mechanism that can be implemented through the new Futures Laboratory. If we're looking for a way to establish communication on this key point, Paul's point.
Well, then when you fill out your own entries,
put that
I'll
in.
look forward to reading
Absolutely.
that, and then I'll say something about that. Good.
Absolutely, and you should say something about arms control, nuclear weapon control.
Yeah.
But seriously, your ideas for what we could do, it would be kind if they could come out by email too.
Let me interrupt because we are on the half hour and we need to restart. We have messages. We have messages from 3 nodes that will send their videos. They are Uruguay, Peru, and Portugal. So we will begin now with Colombia, then Argentina, then Latin America, River, Venezuela, Brazil, and we finish with Silicon Valley before going into the next steps and new initiatives with Jerry and open discussion. So all of that is to welcome Andrea. Andrea actually is a member of the new Colombian Futurist Network, which is absolutely impressive. So Andrea, why don't you go ahead, please?
Excellent. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Jose. Well, good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you. Let me share my presentation. You can see that now. Well, as Jose said, I'm representing the Colombian node and the Colombian Foresight network. We are composed of 5 leaders according to the geographic areas of the country, chaired by Francisco Mojica and Yesid Soler as executive director, who send their greetings to all of you. Well, we have 5 main achievements on 2021 that we want to share with you. First, the future of the professions to 2034. This was an open forum from the National University of Colombia and with the network that we have. The second one is the future of the profession in the Greater Caribbean. It was an open forum from the Universidad SINU with the participation of River, the Ibero-American Prospective Network. The third one is the future of the professions in economic science. It was also an open forum with the participation of the Colombian Academy of Economic Science and the Association of Economists of the National University of Colombia. The fourth is the future of the professions in Costa Rica, also from the National University of Costa Rica in April 7 to 29. And the fifth one, and almost is the biggest one, is the prospective methodology to strengthen the public policy formulation capacities in our country, was between the National Department of Planeación here in Colombia, and we have analysis with futurists from Colombia, Costa Rica, Chile, and Uruguay. Well, in the other hand, the main projects that we have planning for 2022, first we have the support to the activities of the Ministry of Science and Technology in provide guidelines for medium and long-term foresight and planning exercises in science, technology, and innovation. And the second one is support the activities of the National Planning Department in the dissemination of future studies for the formulation of public policies, and also the document Visión Colombia 2050. That is our principal achievements, and thanks to all for the attention.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I forgot to mention Chile. My apologies to Chile, but now we are moving to Argentina. So Miguel Angel, are you there?
Yes, I do. Hello,
Wonderful.
everyone. I want to make a quickly explanation about our presentation. Let me share. In short, this year we published many articles in the newspaper, about 17 new articles about the futures. In association with 7 organizations of the civil society, we make 10 meetings on the web about the different issues regarding the future of our country. The participation was almost 200 people, and the result was a book, report of conclusion. And the other book was published for the University Metropolitan of Mexico, about many articles for me. This is a list of the lecture given during this year. You can see later. I want to talk about the new projects. Many organizations, we're planning a new institutional project, new platform for amplification of ideas about the future. Our first activity will be a micro lab to get internal consensus and vision of the future. Let me ask a quickly reflection about the other project. I think it's necessary to make a curriculum for the future matter subject for the secondary school. The situation of the people who finish high school is very disconcerting, and need this matter to see what will be the future in we live. We're planning to make this in the platform open to the school, hosts, and communities.
3 minutes.
And I will appreciate brief suggestions of topic to be included in this curriculum. Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay.
So Jose, I think you're next, yes?
Yes, I am next. So I am very happy. also to be here, and I will give 2 quick presentations. I think you should see them now. The first one is about the Latin American or Ibero-American Futurist Network that began in 2014, and we had several physical meetings, including the last one that was virtual, but we are planning the next one in 2022, and we are studying 3 possibilities. One is with the incredible, as you saw, Colombian Foresight Network. Another possibility is Ecuador, and another one is here in Spain, where Hector Casanueva from Chile will be speaking also from Madrid, like me. We have 2 books coming up, hopefully next year or in 2 years. The first one led by Concepcion, that she is doing incredible work, and she mentioned that at the beginning. And then I plan to do another one more related to scenarios about the singularity by 2045. There have been some other major books, also Sergio from Chile with Hector, and with people from Colombia, Javier, and Mexico. They are also doing incredible work, as well as Costa Rica. Costa Rica has been planning some books, writing books on planning. There have been many events. We saw the Incredible Futures Week in Bolivia, and all the events, obviously, in Colombia, plus other activities all the way from Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, etc. We have been promoting all the Millennium Project activities, as you know, including doing a lot of virtual conferences. And we have done in common events with Argentina, with Peru, with Colombia, with Costa Rica. We have also participated on some activities of the World Futures Studies Federation. And in fact, I went to the latest World Conference they had in Berlin. And then we are still trying to work on a new website with our friends Tony in El Salvador and Yvonne in Madrid. As I mentioned, this is the website that we want to upgrade. And this is the fantastic book being coordinated by Concepcion, and where people from different countries are working on 2050 global challenges, 15 global challenges. And then I want to do one for 2045, similar to what we did for 2030, 4 scenarios, but more related to the singularity. As you know, I don't like to talk beyond 2045 because I am a real singularitarian, and singularitarians only talk about 2045 with our friend Ray Kurzweil. Okay, let me go on to Venezuela. Venezuela has become a telenation. 6 million Venezuelans have left the country. This is the biggest humanitarian crisis in the world today. On the second one, no, it is 6 minutes. Venezuela is a telenation, 6 million Venezuelans all over the world. In fact, I have more friends now in Bogota, in Miami, in Madrid than in Caracas. Some of our node members are in Peru, Chile, Colombia, Mexico. So it's a real tragedy, but I don't want to talk about the tragedy of Venezuela with 6 million immigrants, 20% of the population, because sadly, it is only going to get worse. We expect 7 million immigrants by the end of this year. In any event, positive things, we support Jerry's and Hector Casanueva's effort for the United Nations, especially from Latin America, again, participating in many other activities. We actively celebrate, even in exile, Future Day on March 1st and Immortality Day on October 1st. We collaborate with other nodes, as you know, and I have been happily, proudly chosen as the president of the Ibero-American section of the Ateneo de Madrid, which is the most famous cultural institution in Madrid. And so I am trying to do events about Venezuela and about Latin America now in Madrid. On a personal note, I organized the largest transhumanist conference. We also had the Millennium Project collaborating. In fact, some of the people here, like Jerry, David Wood, Rohit Talwar, were some of our speakers. We did this at the College of Physicians of Madrid, because I'm basically working on longevity. My objective now, and until I die, which I don't plan to die, therefore, is longevity, is immortality. In fact, I'm very happy to say, just to be closing up, that my bestseller with my dear, lovely co-author, David Good, it's a major bestseller, not only in Spanish, in Portuguese, in French. It came out in 2 different covers in Russian, and it's coming out in Chinese in different covers. And thanks to Mustafa, also it's coming in Turkish. And they chose Jerry's quote to the cover of the book. So I'm very proud that Mustafa has helped us as Jerry. This was not intentional, it was chosen in the cover. So I'm really, really happy.
Uh-oh, now I got to figure out what I said.
Well, Mustafa can tell us about that. But the book will be also coming out in German, Arabic, Japanese, and thanks to my friends Puresh in Urdu, to Nandas in Greek, and to Mariana in Bulgarian, I hope. So that is all from Venezuela in exile. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
You had a comment.
Okay, now, Hector, are you there? Are you next?
Yes, sure, I'm here.
By the way, before Hector begins, if I can introduce one thing, is I want everybody to appreciate what a smart idea can do. Hector was the one that said, let's get a letter and some people to sign it. So that whole thing that has led with the Secretary General's office and the possibility of helping to implement our common agenda comes out with the gentleman you're looking at right there. It was his initiative to say, let's do a letter. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Well, very shortly, the Millennium Project has been very important in Chile to position it, foresight, the future studies at the official level of the country. The node was created in 2007 during the visit of Jerry and Jose and Miguel Angel and Luis Raño, and we visit the president of the Senate of Chile, and we proposed him to create the Commission of the Future, like the Commission of the Future of Finland. The Commission of the Future of the Senate of Chile is now working in full and is preparing different activities. And the main activity that our node is operating is the Congress of the Future. The Congress of the Future has 11 editions and is visited by more than 3 million people during these 10 or 11 years.
Wow.
That's is the impact of the seed that the Millennium Project put in Chile with about the future studies. Well, our node created also the Council of the Foresight and Prospect and Strategy in Chile, and the council is now the Chilean node of the Millennium Project. And we have 32 full members from academic, politics, and companies, artistic sector, and something, in about 2,400 people receiving our documents, proposal, and the monthly magazine that all of you receive every month too. In 2022, we will activate an international advisory board for the council to get ideas, studies, and proposals from relevant academic entrepreneurs, diplomats from around the world who we are in contact now. Recently, yes, as Jerry mentioned, we were fully involved in the proposal to the Secretary General of the United Nations, and I think it was an initiative that will fly in short or long term, but will fly. Finally, well, along these 2 years, I would like to show something we have done, because it's not possible to explain everything we have done. But this is one example of activities. This is the installation of the Commission of the Future with the President of the Senate of Chile, Guido Girardi, during the visit of Jerry. And we have run several activities, seminars, webinars, and something. And you can see these activities. And I would like to finally say what are our priorities for 2022. The first priority is to participate with proposal at the Constitutional Convention of Chile, because we are preparing a new constitution for Chile. Yeah, and we are introducing the idea that our constitution has to consecrate the principle of anticipatory governance and an official strategic perspective body. Second priority is to present to the new government in March of 2022 proposal on foresight and future plan for Chile. We will continue collaborating with the Senate Commission for the Future and the 11th Congress of the Future. We continue publication, webinars, books, articles, and courses in strategic axis of the future of Chile. And finally, continue our institutional and international cooperation with the University of Chile, Santiago, University SEC, University of Development, and Center of Development Professional, of course, with our partners, the Millennium Project, River, and Foresight Europe Network. Thank you very much.
Bravo. Thank you. Okay, let's go over to Brazil. Rosa, are you going to unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello.
Great to be here again. Missing some of you, old friends. Okay, let me share my screen. And I will present here. Can you see?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to present here a node in the process of integration. We recently rejoined the Futures Group at the Catholic University. Arnoldo is the coordinator. Arnoldo is here in the group, okay? And also now a new partner, which is the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, a very, very important center in Brazil. And Jano Souza is the director. Here in the group is Yuri Lima is among us here. So I'm going to present, we're starting with the subnode. This is a new design of our node. It is a new integration, okay? We have sustainability indicators, we have smart cities, government. So each one of these subnodes are offering different approaches, okay? And futures literacy and strategic foresight is under my coordination. Here, impossible to explain everything, but just for you to know that our actions are being integrated into three main domains. Now, the futures literacy, which is being my heavy activity in the last 2 years, intergenerational futures and future of work, okay? So despite COVID, it was a very active year, from a TED speaking to TV, radio programs, you know, several webinars. And the WorkTech study has producing a lot of results in media, in lectures, in courses, okay? So, okay. So these are some of the public results of our activities. The intergenerational future is a study that was conducted and presented in the WFSF conference. And very important to highlight that we are putting evidence on children, on kids and youth. We have to listen to them, not only talking about them. So Teach the Future mainly is putting these people on the stage. The World Futures Day this year was all with the youngsters, and it was amazing. It was incredible. So this is a very important event that Lydia Garrido organized in the name of UNESCO. We are getting alliance with the Museum of Tomorrow too. So now I'm going to speak on behalf of Arnoldo. Arnoldo is a very experienced statistician, and he has students working on different researches. And this one is a very, very interesting one, which indicates that the best ranked countries in a series of indicators are countries that have women as head of state. So this is very, very interesting result. And this is a map that Arnoldo has shared with us, which indicates the Society 5.0. So the topic is the Society 5.0, which is the migration of a high-tech society to a tech and human society in a balance. So this is very interesting study. Now talking on behalf of the Rio de Janeiro group, which is the Lab Futures. These are their main activities right now, and they are very, very respected in Brazil, doing lots of researches and studies for government, for cities, for mayors, and for the whole society. So we are very glad to have the Lab Futures of the Rio de Janeiro University with us. And finally, for next year and beyond, we are now, I hope we will be integrated with a very strong group together to be possible to conduct these plans. Okay? So this is our next activities for next year's. This is all. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Now, I understand Pedro from Portugal's not able to be on right now. Is that right? I think. So, yes. Right. So then we go then to Brock in Silicon Valley.
Okay. So I didn't prepare anything specific because pretty much due to COVID, we've just sort of continued doing what I reported out on the last meeting. So, but basically we've been participating in Millennium projects, the World Futures Day, and some real-time Delphis, including one of the ones from Poland. So we got to test the new platform that Elizabeth mentioned earlier, and hopefully we'll talk some more about that. And a lot of stuff in various technologies. For us, mainly, it's been advanced materials, things like 3D printing and additive manufacturing, and also in the AI area and the future of AI. And so there's been some activities there. As some of you know, I also belong to another group, Business Futures Network. And that's where we've been doing some scenarios work in the future of cities. And we're currently revising our driving forces work there to revise our scenarios for the future of cities. Also, Ted Kahn has joined the group today, and as Ted noted, and he might want to say a couple words about our interest in the future of futures education. I don't know if you want to say anything specific, Ted, but
yeah,
I think it's really interesting. We'd like to be involved.
Yeah, just that it's clear to me from kind of watching, and I unfortunately couldn't come in on the first hour, but the number of presentations that are actually focusing on doing something both formally and informally, I think it's going to be an incredible struggle to basically get the kind of futures foresight and thinking that we need to get into formal education in the US. I mean, in other countries, they may be able to do it because of a more top-down approach, but I think the number of autodidacts, which are kids who basically want to learn something and have to find the resources to do it, regardless of whether it's provided to them as part of their curriculum, is growing. And I think we need to leverage that. So one particular area that I'm really interested in is merging citizen science, which has been focused a lot around engaging anybody around helping solve and do research around problems that no individual researcher can do, and focusing it on future. We might call it futures citizen science or futures citizen STEM or STEAM or anything like that. Teach the Future obviously is a fantastic resource, and we're hoping to have a much better participation at World Future Day this next year for youth specifically, and especially because so many of you are doing that. I think we could actually make this into a much, much larger kind of participation than we did last year. So I encourage you to let me know if you're interested.
Yeah, I think, again, several of the presentations that Ted missed also mentioned this whole education area. And I think this should be, a really important project for the Millennium Project going forward, is to network all the people that are working in this area and devise some sort of curriculum, as someone mentioned, for schools. And we'd like to be part of that.
Yeah, we've been asked from time to time to do something on this because we could bring together quite a diverse set of stuff into a curriculum. One of the things, Ted Kahn, I want you to realize, as you notice, a lot of people initiate things. And if you decide to initiate a proposal for a global assessment, I'm putting together like a global generic curriculum at the elementary, middle, high school, and university levels, one of the things you can do, and I suggest this to everybody, is when you write a proposal, you can put down that a subcontractor or a subunit or whatever you want to call it, or partner, that you can draw on is the Millennium Project as a whole, as you would anyway. So for example, if you put in your appendix to the proposal, the 70 node chairs and their institutions, that's a whopper list.
Absolutely.
You can say, I can draw on this group, which is correct. You can draw on this group. People choose to participate or not, that's their own freedom. But you would have the ability in a proposal to say, I have this to draw on, and here's what I mean by this.
Well, not only that, but the global futures collective intelligence data alone is, do you know how few people in the United States in any K-12 thing have even never heard of this? The answer is it's like this. So the problem is that we have all the people who are on these chairs and nodes who know all about this and participate. There are people in some colleges, obviously, but if you draw this back down to the K-12 thing in the United States, I mean, it's unbelievably sparse.
Yeah.
I
well,
decided,
maybe that's one of the. Sorry, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I decided probably I will start again to renew this our foresight course. I will do probably in the new year or something. If especially will be some proposal from our notes, curriculum, etc. Maybe something new. Maybe not just foresight as we did before. Maybe some new way of this. Especially, when we started so many years ago, it was so hard, to do it online. Now everything online anyway, so we can, really maybe put it over. Yeah, we were pioneer as well in those period, this UBU program, etc. So I will think about that. If it will be good proposal, probably I will just renew it again.
Good. Are we at the break point? I think.
I think we can continue.
Continue. Okay.
But yes, this is for you now. New initiatives, next steps, and then open discussion, including the Nobel Peace Prize that Mariana is proposing that we should all back.
Because I have to leave in 3 minutes for media interview. Yeah. I have written in the chat my proposal with the motivation behind the idea, but we have to celebrate our 25 plus more years of effort that we are gathering together people from countries that are that has some problems, but Millennium Project is beyond the politics and beyond the diplomacy, and this is very successful formula that all of organization could learn from. And of course, we have to raise the consciousness even more for the future challenges and prospects. And this is the best move we can do to make the future literacy even more popular. So please discuss that, and I'll be very glad to receive your feedback and wish you a very fruitful discussion, and kisses and hugs from me. Bye.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your thoughts there. Okay, let me share my screen here for next. Is that, let's see, I got that right. Okay, as Elizabeth has already said, we will have the State of the Future Index, the best and worst cases of each of the variables and the weights. Will be interesting to see because we haven't done the best and worst for a little while. And the work with the Executive Office of the Secretary General continues. It's the first step, it looks like, will be how to help the implementation of our common future, which is excellent for all the reasons we've already discussed, but it's only a first step. There are also, as I think I mentioned, that they're very interested in an alternative to gross national product as a measure of progress. Now, we've all heard this for many, 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 many years, but I've not seen a statement out of the Secretary General's office saying, well, let's do it. And the State of the Future Index is one of the things on their list to consider doing. So if all goes well, maybe they just take it over. I mean, you can still do your own State of the Future Index, for your countries or for a subject matter, like you could do a State of the Future Index for education. It doesn't have to be a country. But this would be but the global one, I think, would be great if the UN takes that over. We could, pass that on. Still working on the State of the Future. The trouble is I keep getting interrupted by different things. I thought I would have had it done by now, but no. But they're all things good that we're being interrupted by. Certainly it was good to be interrupted by the COVID scenarios, not being interrupted by COVID, but the scenario work was important. The same thing with the updating the global development content with Ernst & Young, and same thing with this UN stuff. It's all good stuff, but it slows me down. But I would say I'm probably at least a third the way there. Hopefully it'll accelerate over the next few months. Continue aspirations and fundraising for the governance study on AGI. One of the things I'd like to stress there that Iban, I think, did a good job on, and I think Hector also did a good job on, and the idea that anticipatory governance is not governing what's already there. That's not anticipatory. So when someone says, well, AGI may not be around for 10, 20 years or whatever, how can you have a governance system? Well, but that's what anticipatory governance is about. You're anticipating something, and how do we govern it so that whenever it hits, it's not out of control. So we're having a hard time. For those of you it might help you in your conversation to know, I'm actually a voting member of the IEEE's organizational AI governance committee is putting together the document, and it's I want to tell you, it's an honor to be there. It is beautiful to see such serious, polite, global conversations, sort of like us, but it's like really into details, like what's the difference between AI, and they're just doing narrow AI, they're not doing general yet. What's the difference between AI being reliable and AI being predictable in its behavior? Believe it or not, there are not only different definitions, but there's different metrics for you. How do you audit those two words? I mean, it's that kind of detail that you're in. I'm doing this because it helps me understand what needs to be done on governance for general AI as well. So that's in process.
Please forgive me, since this is something that's life or death and of interest to me. You mentioned the people who are saying this is just going to be for the future, the AGI is hypothetical. It turns out there is just so much misunderstanding, and that's why I'm glad we're working with IEEE, because one of the people I often see, I'll be having dinner with tonight, the woman who used to run the Air Force Office of Scientific Research, Frederica de Rema. She runs a conference called DDDAS. And every time I run across somebody who thinks they know about AI, and there are lots of people who think they know stuff that's not true, I tell them, look on the web for DDDAS video conference. I attended that in great detail a few months ago, and it was really amazing because even the groups funded to work on advanced AI, most of them will tell you X, Y, Z is impossible. And then other groups said, we did X and we did Y, and here it is, and here is how it's working today. Here's who is doing it, and here are all the people lost because they think it's impossible.
Right. Good addition, Paul. Thank you. Next, there's work being done in Greece right now for a State of the Future Index of Greece, and this is going to be interesting because it's in collaboration with the president's office, because Nondas, the chair of the Millennium Project Node in Greece, is the vice chair of the president's foresight council or group or whatever. So it could even become an official thing of Greece. We'll see. It may not. Now, a point on that you should all understand. And this has to do with Korea. I guess it's quite late in Korea, so young Suk may not be here for this comment. But when we did the first State of the Future Index for Korea, it was independent of the government. There were government participants. It was government funded, if I remember correctly, but it was an independent study. It wasn't an official government study. The second time we did it, it was within the government. Now, the problem was, and I was in the committee meeting of the government officials setting what the variables were going to be. Every variable that made Korea look bad was taken out of the list. So there's a problem. On one hand, you're not as effective necessarily as you're outside. But if you're inside, you run the risk of becoming a public relations document. And as you know, we don't do public relations that well. So that's a warning for everybody. But anyway, so Greece is there. Philippines, you already heard the report. They're working on it as well. So at some point, we'll have to make a list of how many State of the Future indexes, but I would say there's probably been 10 to 15 countries that have done it by now. Futures research methodology, that's on the horizon. I got to get the other stuff done first, but know that if you see a method that's not in Futures 3.0 and you think it's a good addition, let me know. We got to peer review it and all that sort of stuff. It's got to follow an outline and so forth, but we'd like to expand it. And if you see new approaches to, say, scenario construction or other sort of stuff that's not in the old stuff, we can update those chapters as well. So everything is up for grabs. I suspect this isn't going to come out for a year or whatever, but I'm beginning to collect materials for this. And just this is a forewarning on that. And I think that's all I got on some new stuff that we haven't talked about already. So now it is open season. So for the observers, if you're interested, you can sort of send us an email and we'll sort of do something about this. Okay, fair enough. Bye-bye to the observers. How many observers are on there?
Some dozens, I don't know. I will tell you.
There have been all coming in and out, over 50 people. But anyway, this is online and it will be watched later by others, hundreds of other people. So I think it is a good time to close, and they can contact the Millennium Project for any further information and join us in 2022.
Yay!
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye, observers. We'll see you later.
Bye.